that was a hell of a hootenanny, I swear to my God. I worry a lot about what's going to happen now that they done banned Donald Trump from the Twitterverse. Welcome to Gabbin+Games for Friday, January, I don't know what it is, 8th? I think it's probably the 8th, fellas and filettis. Good to see you. How's everybody doing? You see that? They just banned Donald Trump. From Twitter. That's pathetic, though. It is kind of, we're not going to get into politics too much today. We are absolutely going to talk about all kinds of gaming and geek news today. By the way, gaming night is tonight, 1 hour and about 10 minutes after we wrap up this stream. We will be playing Killing Floor 2 and then going on to Warzone. Everybody's welcome to play. Members have priority seating. Boom, there you go. There's the situation. But think about that. Think about how thirsty we are for a drink of water, at least here in this country, where we're excited that Donald Trump got banned from Twitter, but the man's still in office. I'm telling you something. We're going to talk about this just for a brief moment, then we're going to get to video games. This is historic, and this is crazy. How can you not talk about it? Somebody tweeted today, Taylor Swift was putting out, you guys know I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift tweets out today about some record. I don't fucking know. It's like, hey, here's my new video. I don't fucking know what she did, and I like her. And somebody's like, hey, you really should say something about what's going on in the country. And I agree. I mean, it's not her job to, and she is political, but you don't not talk about this. I understand people want an escape from it. We'll get into video game news and all that. We will. But I mean, this is massive. The first day it happened a few days ago, we talked on stream. Hell, we watched some of it happening on the goddamn stream, and I felt in shock. It's only afterwards, a day afterwards, now I just feel angry. And when I see these fucking police officers letting these people in, stepping aside, letting them break windows and shit. And then there's a lot of news coming out. You got to be careful with the fucking news. Because there was a report today, and I don't know if it's true or not. It's as a liberal progressive guy who doesn't like Trump, I'm inclined to believe it's true, but I got to be smart about it. Just because it, validates my feelings I already have doesn't mean it's true. But there's a report that a bunch of other country intelligence, like European intelligence, has been saying that this thing that happened on the 6th is apparently, which is when they assaulted the Capitol building, apparently there's a bunch of people inside the Trump ecosystem militarily and in the police that were supporting this. So this was an actual attempt at something bigger than what it became. It's, no shit. It's like, what did you expect to happen when you got a bunch of these moronic weekend warriors running an operation? But apparently they were running through the White House, through the Capitol building, people were threatening to hang Vice President Pence. Come on, I can't stand the man. But this is crazy, man. This is fucking crazy. And then on Parler, what's happening now is they're saying the 19th or the 20th, which is inauguration day of this month, is going to be real violent. And let's get there and bring our weapons and all that shit. This is absolutely fascinating, infuriating, interesting. So, we'll see where it goes, obviously. I did see, Star-Lord says, did you see the new video clip of the police stepping away right before the woman got shot? I did see the video clip. In that particular clip, though, to be fair, it's kind of, you got to be careful with that clip because a lot of people think that you watch that and those cops stepped aside. There were cops on video that stepped aside and let these people in. There's a bunch of footage if you want to get infuriated and see that. But in this particular case, those cops stepped aside because there were actual tactical cops coming up the stairs. And it just it's kind of, I don't know what they expected to happen because in the process of stepping aside, there was like a 10-second window where the bad guys could break the windows and then the woman got shot because she was basically breaching the barricade. I wonder if those cops at this point are responsible for her death in some ways, because I get that they were moving aside to let the tactical officers come in, but there was a big 10-second window there. So I don't know, man, but it's crazy shit. It's crazy shit. Yeah, 2005 cool year. We're talking about something a little bit different. 2000 says, again, we're going to get off politics. I promise. If you've come here to talk video games, we will. I just can't not address the elephant in the room for a few minutes. In fact, let's do this. Set timer for 5.5 minutes. As soon as that timer goes off,
your timer is set for 5 minutes.
We're done with politicking, I promise. If you want to jump forward, if you're watching this later, if you're listening to this in your car, well, not doing it in your car. If you're listening to this, jump forward 5 minutes. We'll be good to go. Okay. But yeah, so Cool says, keep in mind the left has been violent in the last 4 years, but the mainstream media didn't care for that. You know, it's just simply not accurate. Was there violence during the summer regarding the George Floyd murder? Absolutely. The vast majority, though, were people peacefully protesting. Were there looters? Yeah, there were. But again, that, you know, no one, even though I understood it, and even I can sort of in some ways go, I would do the same thing if I was a black person in America and I felt like, at least if you hear them talk, those individuals, not black people as a whole, but that group of people that they interviewed, that was like, look, we've tried peaceful protests. We've tried the law. We've tried all this shit. We're still getting killed. Fuck you. We don't give a fuck about your target. Okay. I can understand that point of view and I can sympathize and empathize with that point of view. And I don't think it's the same thing as the president of the United States basically telling his people, hey, an election was stolen without any fucking evidence. And so go basically take over the Capitol, and Rudy Giuliani saying, go be violent because you guys didn't get your way. It's absolutely different. And then I heard a bunch. I mean, the fact of the matter is, look, you're either at this point, you're either in one camp, or you're out of, you're either in my point is this. How many times did I hear the day after the 6th, the 7th, really, Jaffe? That was yesterday. Oh, these were Antifa people. They were people. I mean, it's just like anything that you say, no matter how much evidence you offer, no matter how much the other side, the pro-Trump side, doesn't offer, they will always come up with more bullshit. It's like you literally have video. You literally have tweets. You literally have the president saying, go and march on the Capitol. You have people on Parler saying, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. No. It was Antifa. There's evidence all up and down the board that it wasn't. In cool year, you're just fucking wrong. Antifa and Black Lives Matter were egged on by the left. That's right. Not Antifa. But most people support the Black Lives Matter movement. Yes. Are you a moron? Maybe you don't. I'm serious. At this point, I don't even give a fuck. At this point, if you are a fan of Donald Trump, you don't belong here. You're welcome to be here, but you don't belong here. I'm not going to pretend to both sides this bullshit with you. Cool year, Trump never told Americans to cause a riot. You're a fucking moron. Trump, in every way, shape, and form, other than literally saying, go out there and cause a riot, you know exactly what he was telling them to do. You know exactly what he was egging them on to do. You have footage of the Trump family in a tent watching all this go down, and Trump Jr. literally looking into a camera and saying, today we bring the fight, or some such shit. Don't give me that shit. You got Giuliani saying we need to do, I forget what his term was, but it was like protest by combat. Don't fucking sit around and just own your racism, or own your bigotry, or own whatever it is that has you in the pocket of these fucking morons. Or just say, you know what, Jaffe? I don't care. I don't like liberals. I don't like progressives. I don't like the gay folk, the trans folk, the Jew folk, the black folk, and just fucking be proud of it and own it. I won't respect that view, but I'll at least respect you more for going, you're just a goddamn hillbilly moron. I mean, I'm from Alabama, and I fucking don't share those views. Oh, exactly. Upvote Bandit says it's always a conspiracy when Trump is being portrayed in a bad light. They always make excuses. Always. How about this? How about finally somebody comes forward from 2005 year, whatever the fuck his name is, and says, you know what, Jaffe, you want your evidence? Here's goddamn evidence. Here's goddamn evidence of the election being stolen. Well, they can't do that. The Supreme Court has said there's no evidence. Courts all over the goddamn land have said there's no evidence. Courts that are stacked with Republican judges that Trump appointed have said there's no evidence. Oh, well, there's evidence. You just got to wait. Fuck you. We're tired of waiting. When we wait, you guys attack the fucking Capitol building. Go fuck yourselves. Everyone's deranged for not liking Trump, says Gnome, but apparently it's not deranged to think Trump is literally Jesus reincarnated. There you go. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'll give you guys the last word. Amon, the Supreme Court threw the evidence out. Dude, you're just not educated on this. There was no evidence that the Supreme Court threw out. If there was evidence that the Supreme Court threw out, do you think that evidence wouldn't be plastered up and down the media? Give it to me. I'm open to it. You think I think Joe Biden is like, or Kamala Harris or the DNC are like the fucking paragons of virtue? I wouldn't put it past anybody in the goddamn government. I wouldn't put it past anybody in the human species to rig an election if it means their greed and their desire for power is going to be satiated. Okay? But you have to offer some fucking proof. So what you don't get to do is say, oh, the Supreme Court threw out the evidence, Amon, without providing the evidence they threw out. Because if you can't provide the evidence they threw out, then you don't have a point. The only way you can say they threw out the evidence is you have the evidence to show that they threw out. Otherwise, you're just making shit up. I'm with you, Jumpin' Flash. I'm with you. Who gives a shit, Gian? I don't care. Okay. Are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Are we ready to move on? You guys get the last word. Are we done? I'm going to let you guys finish it up. I'll read what you say. Then we're going to get into video games like I promised we would. I'm a fella. I'm a word. Oh, hello, Dargy. Okay. Oh, by the way, somebody's talking about the mods banning. Okay, we're moving into video game territory now. Yeah, Glizzy God is asking, he says to me, Jaffe, can you stop the mods from banning people? And Rob, who's our great longtime lead mod, is like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Twitter or Twitch will limit certain language. I don't. I only limit hate speech. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean, you know, what is it you want to chat about, man? Yeah, it takes a lot, Eternal says, for someone to get banned here. Hell, Bacon Magma's not banned here yet, and he's been asking the same dumb fucking question for the last 20 minutes. Jaffe, your thoughts on poop giving you evidence of your health state? What's funny about that question, Bacon, you fucking moron, is that it's not like a theory. Your poop does give evidence of your health state. In fact, if you take, there is proof positive that if you take poop from a healthy person, and it's called a fecal transplant, you can take healthy poop from someone and put it in the butthole of somebody who's not healthy, and depending on the thing that the not healthy person is suffering from, they will start to get better. It's not going to cure them of cancer or anything, but that's a real goddamn thing, fecal transplant. So don't fucking come at me and go, what are my thoughts? Like it's some kind of, you know, controversial topic. Come on, baby, let's go. Inky hadn't banned nobody either. God damn. I've seen some heinous stuff on YouTube. What did you say to get banned, says Tommy. I didn't get banned. I'm not banned. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, I will give you that potato quality. I will give you that. Bacon Magma is very good at Mortal Kombat. I just got the Xbox Series X last night, and I saw that Tekken was on there. Now, Tekken is Bacon Magma's That's where he eats. So there's no goddamn way that I will be competing with that motherfucker in the Tekken, but I will get better at Mortal Kombat, and I will bring that motherfucker down a peg. But he's pretty good. I almost beat him one fight. Couldn't beat him a whole match, though. He's pretty good. I'll give him that credit where goddamn credit is due. Help me choose, says Salmon. What is the most in demand when it comes to game development? 3D animation or visual particle effects? My first question is, why do you care? Answer me that, then I'll give you an answer. Where did I get my Series X? I won't say the person's name, but I got it from a good pal of mine who is very well known in the horror industry. And he calls me, he says, hey, I got an extra Xbox that I can get you if you want one. I heard you want one. I'm like, you goddamn right I want one, buddy. Thanks very much. I like it. I mean, here's what I'll tell you I love about it. In fact, I'll show you guys. We have video game news, though. We do. And we have game night tonight. This is not a political show. We're going to talk about Scott Pilgrim. We're going to talk about Metacritic's games. They have their user awards came out today. We're going to talk about Borderlands, the movie. We have a lot of game news. I want to show you one thing. Hello, Proto V. Hope you're doing well today, bud. Okay, I want to just show you what I love the most about the Xbox, though. Okay, let me turn it on. Because as a fellow with ADD, and I haven't quite figured out the quick resume function I don't quite understand like how many games I can stack in quick resume, and I don't understand, it doesn't give you an indication of, hey, are you sure you want to start this game? Because this is about to this is about to close one of your quick resume games. But that aside, though, Ali, I'll get to you in a second. That aside, though, I want to show you, though, the quick resume function, which I know you've seen, but I adore it. This is one of my favorite parts of having this goddamn thing. Let me bring up there's the games I've downloaded so far. Okay, one second. Okay, so here's what I got so far. So if I go to like Gears, and I just turned it on, right? So, I mean, there's like a 4-second delay. Okay, so here I am into Gears 5, right? Great, whatever. Now, if I'm like, you know what, I want to play Hot Shot Racing. Not a problem, pal. Quick resume. I mean, look at this. So as somebody who has ADD like I do, the speed of this, I mean, I wasn't in the middle of a race, but there you go. Look at this. If I want to play, I'm playing Monster Train right now. Look at this. That's weird. That should have been in quick resume. So that's the weird part about this, is that some of the games have it. Some of the games don't. The ones that do have it, you don't necessarily know when it's going to shut off. And so that's kind of weird. But if that gets resolved, and I'm sure it will, this is sort of the launch. I mean, look at that. I can just go from, I'm getting my ass kicked on a boss. I want to take a break. Fuck it. Let me just, I still want a game. Let me just go race. I mean, that is something, as much as I love the solid state drive on the PS5 and how that has really created some good experiences for me, like Demon Souls and whatnot, it doesn't have this. So, I mean, I absolutely love, when you say, what do I think of the new Xbox? I love that feature. You guys know I love Game Pass. The best way to play Game Pass is right now on the console, because they have more games. So I'm really enjoying it. Obviously the exclusives are absolutely not as good. Okay, so let me just get to this question. Okay, I'm going to give you an obnoxious answer, Ali. And I know you sent me a PM on Discord, but I don't have time always to answer every individual message, especially one that is so loaded, because that's an important question. The reason I'm asking you, fuck off, Bacon. Bacon says the mods are banned crazy. They banned Delta Gamer last year. He didn't do anything. Fuck off. Listen to me, though. The reason I ask you what is it you want to do is that really should guide, in my opinion, what you choose to do. The idea of you're going to pick a profession or a niche within the game industry based on what? That you think people are hiring more for? And my answer to that would be, that seems a miserable way to live your life. Why don't you pick the thing you like to do? Both of those things are viable. It's not like one of those things is, I would like to do underwater basket weaving or particle effects for video games. Well, okay. You probably should pick particle effects for video games in that case, because obviously there's not much of a market for underwater basket weaving, at least as far as we know. Okay. But the two things you mentioned, animation and particle effects, both of those are active jobs. They show no sign of slowing down. They only show signs of getting better. I mean, so the number one thing is you should pick what you're passionate about, because it's a hard career. It's a fun career. And only the best really are able to thrive, at least in a meaningful way, if you use thrive like to make a really good living. And to be the best at something in a creative field, you have to love it. You have to be passionate about it. You have to be willing to go well above and beyond what you're asked to do, not because you're trying to make the ducats, but because you love the work. So I think that has to be your North Star if you're asking for my advice. But I will tell you, the only thing I would say is, if you are a good 3D animator, you probably have more options, only because off-the-shelf particle effects are getting more and more and more easy to compete with, good enough. Now, we have Max, who watches the stream from time to time. He's been the effects artist on God of War 1 all the way up to the recent one. You're not going to be able to buy off the shelf Max Ankar quality effects. But if you're like making indie games and you want to have some cool explosions and blood trails, those are going to be easier to just buy your way out of that problem than like really good character-based commercial animation. So I would suggest you go that route if both things are equal. But honestly, I think you should go the route of what you're excited by the most. Why does PS Now suck so hard, says Christian? Well, I mean, I don't think it sucks so hard. I think it's pretty fucking good. But I think compared to Game Pass, it's an also ran. I mean, it's not. It's great if you want to play a bunch of old games. It's great if you want to play, I mean, pretty much that. Going to game PS Now feels like going to GameStop back in the day and going through the used game section, right? A lot of classics are in there, but they're out for 2, 3, 4, 10 years that you can get on there. Doesn't mean Game Pass doesn't have a back catalog and it's growing, but not only do they have their first party, but they have tons of brand new third-party games, indie games, and they also have relatively new, third-party indie games. PS Now has some of that, but not to the degree that defines the service like it defines Game Pass. Okay. Hello, Reza. Good to see you as always. Okay. Leonardo says, what are your thoughts on PS5 outperforming Series X? You mean sales-wise? I mean, I don't really know what that means yet. I mean, do I think, okay, really quickly, do I think that PS5, even if you had no supply constraints and both systems sold into the stores the same amount, would PS5 still outsell the Xbox right now? Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that's the case. Do I think that Xbox, if they can get their fucking shit together with managing their teams, do I think they could absolutely run away with this generation? I absolutely think that. And, I mean, look, you can think what you want, but all you have to do, I mean, what's funny about this conversation with people is they don't really want to have the conversation. They don't really want to have the conversation from a business standpoint, right? They want to have the conversation from a fanboy standpoint. I'm not arguing that Sony makes leaps and bounds, at least at the moment, better first-party exclusives. Of course they do. I can't imagine Xbox doesn't openly admit that. The issue, though, is, convenience, price, good enough. If you look at Roblox, that's just gotten valued at over $300 No, what were they valued as? In the billions? Was it 3 billion? No, what? They just raised 250 million, and they're valued at 3 billion, I think. But I mean, Roblox and Minecraft and Fortnite and Switch and more and more and more evidence exists that the vast majority of people who game don't need what the Sony people love in terms of the big first party, over the top, amazing graphics, cinematic, all that. It does not mean those are not great games, but if you act as if that is the driving force behind the success, I think you'll be very shocked. Because all you have to do is look at the rest of the market and go, oh yeah, that doesn't bear out. What bears out is convenience, price, and good enough. That usually wins. But again, if Xbox can't get their shit together, I don't think what they're offering right now is good enough. I don't think their exclusives are good enough. No, I do not think that at all. But I think it's possible given all the great talent they have acquired. Now listen, I want to talk about this. Yeah, well, it's a good point. 2005 shows back up. He rallies from his moronic earlier statements, and he comes up with a good one. He says, Jaffe, PS1 sold 100 million units, but the N64 is the best-selling game of that generation. That's right. That's absolutely right. Hello, Dave Davidos. Good to see you. I am still playing Demon's Souls. I love it. Okay. All right, listen to me. So I'm curious about this. This got announced. We knew this was coming. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. We knew this was coming digitally. Now today, Limited Run says, hey, we're also putting out this nice little edition. Physical edition of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm going to get it because, this is the poster child that everybody brings up and says, this is why only digital future is bad. What about Scott Pilgrim? We couldn't play Scott Pilgrim. I'm interested in this because I think once this actually drops, they're going to lose one of their big, aces that they always get to play. Because I'm like, dude, I've played this before on PS3 a little bit, and I played it on stream on emulation. I love beat 'em ups. River City Girls was in my top 10 last year. I finished Streets of Rage 4. I played the Jay and Silent Bob Attack Bad Guys at the Mall fucking indie game a couple of months back. I love this genre, okay? This was fine, but it wasn't like, oh my God, the minute the game comes out and becomes widely available, you will see. It's not like this is going to be some monster hit after the first people roll in to get it as a collector's item. And again, I'm not saying that it negates people's point that a digital-only future is bad. I'm just saying that this idea that because we're moving towards a digital-only future and we have lost something important, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, is proof of that, you will see that laid bare as the lie that it is when the game comes out, and within a week, no one's playing it, no one's talking about it, except the collectors. That's the goddamn truth. That's the goddamn truth. Rob says, I'll be getting the game. I'll be getting it too. Now, yeah, I mean, PT is a little different. I mean, PT only exists in digital form. That's a totally different situation. What about games that have music or other commercial licenses that expire and the game is too old to make it worth? Yeah, what about them? I mean, it happens. It happens with Freaks and Geeks. You can't watch the TV show, one of the best TV shows ever, Freaks and Geeks, unless you got lucky, and I did get lucky, and I lent them out to a friend, and I can't find them anymore. You got the box set of Freaks and Geeks on Blu-ray or DVD back in the day. You can't order it off Amazon anymore. It's not streaming anymore because that show is not only chock full of songs that have been licensed, those songs and discussions of those songs are marbled into the actual story structure of the show. And so unless that ever gets worked out, which it probably won't, the best you have as a chance to watch Freaks and Geeks is watching on bootleg on YouTube before somebody takes the goddamn thing down. Yeah, Rob, I love that. It's a great show. Chester says, I still have my 360 because I never wanted to lose some digital-only games like Scott Pilgrim. I understand. I'm not knocking Scott Pilgrim. It looks cool, I mean, I've played it, but I mean, this is a nice package, and it comes with, like, as Limited Run tends to do, it comes with some fun little pack-in tchotchkes and stuff, and you got reversible cover art. It's a nice collectible. It's one of my favorite genres out there. I'm just saying that, I think if it was PT, okay, if it was PT, which even though I don't agree, PT is amongst so many people lauded as the scariest game ever made and one of the best horror games ever made. If that had been physical, or if that had been digital, which it was, and that had been pulled away from people, which it was, I could at least understand the frustration. I don't necessarily understand it with Scott Pilgrim. But you know, again, I mean, the flip to that is you wouldn't even have PT if it wasn't for Konami. So Konami funds it. They say, here's this free fucking thing. You want to play it? Okay, now we're taking it away. I mean, they don't owe you anything. And I'm not acting like fuck you. I'm just saying that I think there's this expectation that maybe has been drilled into people that, you know, you own this shit. And it's just like, I watched Queen's Gambit with the family. We loved it a couple of weeks ago. If Netflix pulls it off the Netflix, I'm not going to be like, oh, how dare they? I'll be like, well, yeah, that's the deal. It's a rental service. Why would I expect anything else? It was more the mystery and suspense of all time, says Eternal. Oh, at the time, PT doesn't really hold up. It was just a teaser. No, I know. I agree. I thought the graphics at the time for PS4. I remember the Sony guys, we were doing Drawn to Death, came by on that day and they hadn't seen it yet. So we put it up on the TV and we're like, dude, you got to fucking see this demo. And we were all like, you know, this was like the first year PS4 had been out. So at that time, we had not seen photoreal graphics at that level. And we were all just like, holy fucking shit, man. But yeah, if you actually go back and play it, it's just kind of, you know, it's got some neat ideas. Absolutely. It's not crap or anything. But it's, you know, a lot of games have come along since and done a lot better stuff. But I mean, trust me, if Kojima said I'm making a horror game, I'd be there. I'm excited, unless there was hours of cutscenes. Eddie, I think that really gets to the point of it. Eddie says, I have an unhealthy attachment to do things like PT because it's easier than confronting my inner problems. There is a line betwixt collecting where it's healthy and collecting where you are shoving your pain inside a hole, and you're avoiding real life. I'm the same with food. I overeat because I can't deal with the stress of my life very well. People do it with money, with spending. They do it with sex. They do it with exercise. And they do it with buying shit. So, yeah, I think a lot of people who are like, oh my God, they're going to take my stuff away, would be probably wise to question why they care so much about the goddamn stuff. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. God damn it. Let's move on, shall we? There you go. But there's Scott Pilgrim. I will be playing it on stream. That's coming out sometime in January digitally, which is how I will be playing it because I don't buy stuff anymore. Look at this. You see this goddamn thing that dropped today? I'm going to show you the trailer, but I'll turn the volume down so we can talk while it's playing. This is Sony just announced their very own streaming service today. It's a little different than HBO Max and whatnot because it's totally built into the Bravia TV. Well, it's not built in, it's streaming, but it's not like you can subscribe and watch it on your phone or you can watch it on your PC, you can watch it on PlayStation. This is a streaming service at the moment that exists solely for these TVs. But obviously this is a trial run. They are going to be, there's no way they're going to just leave this on fucking TVs. But they are, that's where it's going to begin its life. I am curious about this only because Sony's gotten better recently, but you have to buy a Bravia TV. That's right. I don't think Sony really has enough content for this. I could be wrong because they haven't released a list, but what they're showing here is like Jumanji and Spider-Man and Venom. I mean, what do they really have? They don't really have a lot. And maybe that's why they're kind of like, this is just sort of there's like Hotel Transylvania, The Dark Tower. I'm not saying they couldn't make a go of it. And they have as much of a, here we go, let's pause here and see what they got. They have as much of a right to try to make a go of it as anybody else does, but I think they have probably the weakest intellectual property. Their big sexy selling point. One of them is Bad Boys for Life, Hotel Transylvania 3, Peter Rabbit. Little Women was great, but it's not something you want to stream like as a event. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go, but it's interesting. They just announced this today. This is coming out with the Bravia TVs. Now I am in the market for a new TV, so I may get this anyway. And in that'll be cool to have, but they haven't announced what the price is. I don't know if it's for all Bravia TVs. I don't think so. CES starts Sunday or Monday. Obviously, it's virtual this year, and there's a lot more announcements forthcoming. I'm almost certain, though, this is for their new line of television Bravias. I don't think, because their whole thing is all of these are streaming to you in 4K and whatever, all the bells and whistles of just like amazing picture. What if they combine it with Michael Mumbar's idea of making shows with video game assets? Yeah, I mean that. Again, I mean, are you saying would I be more interested? No, only because the idea of just that. I mean, I have faith in Michael Mumbauer, but I'd need to see what the show is, who's running it, what the script is, what the story is. I love Castlevania. I hear the Castlevania Netflix show is really good. I haven't even watched that goddamn show. So unless people say, and in fact, let's talk about that real quick. It's on the list. It's deeper. Prog Rock, thank you so much. Prog Rob, thank you so much for joining the Diet Soda Soldiers. This is for you, pal. There's a little tip of the bubbly. Everybody hit that motherfucker up with a Diet Coke Taylor Swift sandwich. I would appreciate it in the chat. There you go, Gnome Wizard. There you go, Jojo D. There you go, Pugman. Look at Rob the Mod blowing the place up with his stanky farts. I appreciate that, fellas. But seriously, Rob, thank you so much. We'll be doing game night tonight. Members have first seat. Tomorrow night, we're doing a double feature motion picture show. The first movie is open only to members. The second movie is open to anybody and everybody. So you picked a good time to join the Diet Soda Soldiers and Gabbin+Games membership. I appreciate it, buddy. Let me tell you something real quick, though. So regarding what this is going to be deeper into the show, I want to show it to you real fast, though, because it relates to what we're talking about. So streaming is interesting. You guys know I'm a fan of streaming. But what streaming does, is it, in my opinion, it really brings quality. It forces niche programming and quality, because everything now, oh my goodness gracious. You ever do that with your face? You kind of make it shake, and then you think you could, if you keep doing it, you could maybe die or have an aneurysm. Maybe that's what happened to Dr. Dre. Oh God. Oh, Zach Scott. See, I'm already having an aneurysm. I thought your name was Mark. Zach Scott, thanks so much for joining the Diet Soda Soldiers again. I appreciate it, buddy. Everybody give one more. There you go. Getting the love. Jojo D's always the first one giving the love, and I appreciate it, pal. You're like, that's what my wife says. Zing. Zach Scott, thank you, sir. I very much I appreciate it. I appreciate you being back, buddy. I don't disagree about Dr. Dre being the best hip hop producer of all time. I hear you. That's a valid opinion for sure. But Zachary, thank you. Welcome. Prog Rob, thank you. Welcome. Here's the point about streaming, though. It absolutely has created a different relationship with the motion pictures that I have. Because it used to be, if Wonder Woman, which I did watch, but if Wonder Woman was going to come out or a big movie was going to come out, I would be like, okay, that's on my radar. I have to see that. Now, because everything is immediately equal, it reminds me of going to the video stores back when I was a teenager and earlier, really, where it's like, yeah, you've got, the biggest Hollywood hit sitting on the shelf next to a Troma movie. But if the Troma movie looks more interesting, or if your friends have told you the Troma movie's cool, you're going to go with the Troma movie. And back in the day, people could compete that way. I bring this up because this news just comes out. Studio Ghibli, which obviously, as you know, is Miyazaki's house, Totoro, and Castle of Cagliostro, and Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, on tons of amazing anime classics. They're making their very first, or they've made their very first CG movie, which is called Earwig and the Witch. And this, they just announced today, is coming to HBO Max on February 5th, right? Now, if you were to tell me when this motherfucker was in the theater, I would be like, oh, okay, I'm going to drag my kids to this. They're a little old now for Ghibli, but fuck it, I don't care. They're at that age now where they're not old enough to appreciate the childlike innocence of it, but they're not young enough to go because they are childlike and innocent. So I'd have to drag them to it. But I would be like, oh, we got to go fucking see this. Are you kidding me? It's Ghibli's first CG movie. But now that it's coming out on HBO Max, and if you go to HBO Max, I mean, you know, here, look, I have HBO Max. I have all these. Look, these are all my fucking streaming services. They're just infinite. And, you know, if that pops up as something to watch, I would be like, okay, well, maybe I'll think about it. But I've got all this other shit to watch. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that when you guys were talking about, I think somebody mentioned PT or whatever, I think you are going to see quality needing to step up across these entertainment forms that use streaming. Because end of the day, it's going to be word of mouth again. Word of mouth is going to get more and more powerful in order because nothing else matters. You can market the fuck out of Rampage all you want. But if I hear that, and I have, by the way, Birds of Prey, I actually hear is really fucking good. But you can market the fuck out of Rampage all you want, which they do. But if the word on the street is the high note, which I don't even know what the fuck it is awesome, that's what I'll be watching over the weekend, not Rampage. So I'm just saying it's interesting times that we're living in. Speaking of movies that probably shouldn't be made, boom, there you go. There you go. That is Borderlands. Now, look, I only bring this up. I like Eli Roth. I don't know Randy Pitchford that well, but from what I know of him, I know a lot of people have issues with him. He's always been nice to me, and his staff has always been nice to me on the rare occasions we've talked, which are very rare. And I'm not a Borderlands hater. I haven't played it enough to form much of an opinion. I played the first one for a while. I enjoyed it. I loved the art style. It seemed kind of fun, and I moved on with my life. It never got its hooks in me, okay? So for all I know, Borderlands is just a brilliant IP that is so rich with storytelling and good character pathos and whatnot. Mayhaps that this really could be a great, foundation for a motion picture show. And Eli Roth has a lot of talent for certain kinds of movies. I'm not saying this is going to be a piece of shit. But the idea, though, why most video games suck, I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because when you're talking about comic books, okay? I mean, this is like from 1980, this is from 1979, this is from I've been reading comics since I was like 5 years old, okay? And as cheesy as some of them are, the essence of what is in these goddamn things is story, is character, is foundational DNA that translates to other mediums. Borderlands, or any video game, the vast majority of video game stories, they're fine, but they're not. Let's put it this way. If you walked into the same company, which is making Borderlands, which I think is Lionsgate, and you pitched them this movie, and it wasn't Borderlands, they would probably say, that's kind of cool, we'll pass. If you walked in and pitched somebody Metal Gear, and it wasn't Metal Gear, they would probably say, I'll pass. Same thing with Red Dead. Same thing with The Last of Us Part 1. I don't know about Part 2. Now, I even think maybe, depending on if you're going for like a B movie, they could possibly go with God of War. The new God of War is one of the few games, I think, that actually, on its own, could be a story that people would say, wow, I don't care where it comes from. That's a really compelling idea. The father-son dynamic and how it plays out. I think you can make a compelling story about Gone Home. I think you can make a compelling story about Firewatch. Edith Finch for sure. But anyway, the point is when I see this, I'm just like, geez, guys, the only reason you're doing this movie is in my opinion, I could be wrong, but you're hitching your wagon to the brand because it's sold really well. And then you're hoping you can bolt a really good movie on top of it. And so I bring it up because people are always asking, why do video game movies suck so bad? Well, because there's nothing in the There's nothing in the fucking sauce, man. There's nothing about it in its cake batter or in its DNA that would suggest to anyone that there's a great story to be told here. Look, Uncharted may end up being a great movie, but that'll be, and Twisted Metal may end up being a great TV series, but that'll be because the people who made it were approached and they said, you're talented. Can you write something good that we can bolt this onto? You cannot tell me if they made Uncharted or Twisted Metal, shot for shot of the narratives in those games, people would watch the goddamn motion picture. You know goddamn well that's not true. As for the Mortal Kombat movie, somebody was asking about that. I know there's supposed to be a trailer coming out pretty soon, but I don't know much about it. Hollywood says Eddie makes board games based on things like Battleship. Yeah. But again, I don't think anybody looked at Battleship and said, there's a story here. I think they looked at Battleship and said, we can package this. And, that's fine. That works a lot of times. But more often than not, it doesn't. And, I think, they've got Kevin Hart right now lined up for this movie. And they've got, who was the lady in Indiana Jones? She's a great actress. What's her name? Kate Blanchett. And then Eli Roth. It's not like, so those people are absolutely capable of coming together and making a good motion picture. I just don't think that it's because the material they're working with is somehow phenomenal and whatnot. I just wanted to show you this story real quick because as a fellow who's getting a little bit older, a little bit up there in years, well, let me... Captain Hogwash says he suggests Sally Struthers as Sonya Blade. Now, I don't know if you know who Sally Struthers is, and I don't really know... I don't really know. I'm sorry, I'm reading three things at once now. I don't really know if I should show you a picture, but she definitely doesn't fit as Sonya Blade. Twisted Metal's story surface has only been scratched. Uncharted was nothing but a cinematic experience when the story comes from the cars and weapons. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that you can't do something with all of these brands, just like you could do something with Battleship. I'm just saying that it's clear. I think fans especially should be careful when you see something announced that we're going to make a movie out of X. It's clear when they want to make a movie out of X because there are creatives behind it that feel this will make a great fucking movie. And this is a brand that we can pretty much do what we want with, but the brand has already done a lot of the marketing, which is half the cost of the goddamn motion picture. That's all I'm fucking saying. Yeah, not Sally Field. Sally Field's fucking great, man. Sally Field's fucking great. What does Jay say? Jay says, if video game writers wrote a good book, then they would become better writers. Oh, well, that's sure. If you can hold someone's attention and imagination from work, then movies and games would be easier. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The problem is, and we've talked about this several times on the stream, if you're a genuinely good, I think Corey, because of his just weird history with games and then Hollywood and back to games, is a rare bird in terms of his career path. But if you're a genuinely good writer, and I do think Corey is, I know he had other writers, so maybe it doesn't matter who it was, but there clearly was great writing happening in the new God of War. If you're a really good writer, it doesn't make sense to work in video games. Unless you can make a really rare deal. But if you're a really good writer, go write a fucking book and own it. Go write a movie screenplay and get paid $2 million for a spec screenplay. Go write a TV series and be a fucking showrunner and be set for the rest of your goddamn life. Why in the world would you write a fucking video game? It doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. And that's why I continually say the best writers have no incentive to come into video games. And here's how you know they have no incentive. Because, it's cheesy to say, but it's cliche to say, but it's true. Money walks and bullshit talks. So you can talk all day long about how important video games are for storytelling. That's fine. But that's not really true. Because games, if games needed amazing stories to sell well, like incredible stories to sell well, then the people who make those incredible stories would get paid in kind. But I guarantee you a great programmer or a great network programmer or a great game director is getting paid a hell of a lot more money than somebody who's writing the fucking video game. What happened to doing what you love? I agree. You should. But if I say says what happened to doing what you love? If you are a writer and you are a great writer and you want to write in the medium that is video games, I think that's great. But I've never really met that kind of person before. Usually if you're a great writer, you can write anywhere. You can write a TV show, or you can write a movie, or you can write a video game. Well, are there some rare birds that choose to write the game? Yeah, I guess. But most people would probably write the movie because they'll make a lot more money and they're still getting to do the same job. Yes, Haley came from Westworld to Last of Us 2. And again, I can't speak to Last of Us 2 because I haven't played it. I did play Last of Us 1. Why do popcorn movies with low mid stories sell far more than actual great movies? Well, yeah, I mean, movies now, because the whole, we talked about this too the other day, that movies now are bigger in China than they are in America. Because of that, the language barrier sort of demands simpler stories. But a really good quality movie is probably going to do a lot better on a streaming service these days than going out to being a film. People are addicted to theater, and also teens bring their dates, says Peter. Well, yeah, I mean, that's explaining why they're there, sure. Why there's a market for it. Jaffe should... Okay. The Witcher TV show was pretty good. Yeah, it was, Owen, but it was also based on a series of novels. The DNA of that show is not the game. The DNA of that show are the books. David S. Goyer wrote Black Ops Story. Yeah, and David S. Goyer hasn't written a good movie in a long time, though. In fact, isn't he? Let me look him up. He did The Dark Knight, but that's me, David S. Goyer. Let's see what he's written. He wrote The Dark Knight and Batman, but then he wrote Flash Forward, Superman Begins, Masters of the Universe, Vader Immortal, which wasn't good, Terminator Dark Fate. So he's written a bunch of kind of, not great stuff as well, but I don't know. I'm not knocking the guy. I'm just saying he's not, it's not like you're talking about Aaron Sorkin or something. I think the games where the story works best is often when the person spearheading the game design is heavily involved in the writing, but they're not the same stories that would work in film. Yeah, that's true. Nowadays, the difference between video game writing and movie writing seems to be blurred, but people don't realize games have different beats and structure, says Arth. Yeah, that's the biggest part. That's the biggest part for sure. I know for a fact, says Bacon, if you want to make money as a writer, get a job as a comedy TV show writer or a detective procedural writer. Those are the best ways to get residuals. Yeah, it's a good point too. Absolutely. Okay. Anyway, there you go. That's Borderlands. We were going to talk about Silver Snipers. All I'm saying is this is interesting. As a guy who's getting older, this is interesting. Silver Sniper specifically is an esport league made up of 65 and older people who play. I think it's CS:GO. But the bigger part of this article in Wireframe is really cool because it is talking about, people who were 20 or 30 when Pong came out are now 60, even 70. And so it is really cool to me as somebody who's almost fucking 50, fuck you, to be going, wow, there's still interest in this, and there is growing interest in this now from 2-year-olds on their parents' fucking iPads all the way up to the goddamn grave. They say that older people play strategy games more and social games more, but some of them play shooters. There's this woman on YouTube. I've never watched her before. I guess this is her right here. She plays Skyrim. She has 1 million followers on Skyrim. She calls herself Skyrim Grandma. So, I mean, I just think it's cool. I don't know if it's going to open up a whole new way to make video games. I don't know if there's going to be a whole new design paradigm that needs to happen for older gamers. There might be. But there are already a lot of slower, more thoughtful, evocative games out there. Things like Journey. Things like, what was that, A Short Hike that just came out recently? I think it's pretty fucking cool. I think it's pretty fucking exciting. I like how old people can't just say gray. They have to say silver. I don't fucking know, man. I hate when I see little kids playing iPad. It makes you sick, says Orang. Why does it make you sick? Captain Hogwash says the old people have to have a nap in the middle of the competition. That may be true. That may be true. Why don't game developers make games like Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks? I just played a game the other day very much like that called Raji. I didn't like it, but it reminded me very much of those kinds of games. So if you're looking for that kind of game, look up Raji on PlayStation or Steam or whatnot. The woman probably makes less cookies for her grandchildren because of her gaming. That's shameful. Could be. Hello, Christina. How are you? How's the weather down there in Alabama? Let me ask you something, Christina from Alabama. I'm trying to do a southern accent, but it's just not working. How are the Trump folks? How are the Trump folks down there? That's what I want to know. Are they upset? Are they pissed off? Oh my God! I'm going to ban you, Lamb Cherry. You've asked the question 5 fucking times, and I fucking answered it. Now shut the fuck up or ask me something different. Jesus fucking Christ. My birthday is in April, pal. My birthday is in April. They're going insane. Oh my God, that's bad. Let me just tell you something. We're gonna move on to the Metacritic user games of the year. I promise in 2 seconds. Let me just tell you something. A buddy that Christina and I went to high school with. I've talked about this before, but he unfollowed me on Facebook because he said that I was being too mean to Donald Trump, and I was saying hateful things to Donald Trump. This was like 4 or 5 months ago, and I was like, dude, fine, whatever. I don't really care. But it's like I saw him on another friend's post say he was one of these guys carrying water for the theory that the guys who stormed the Capitol the other day were Antifa people disguised as Antifa. It's like, dude, just fucking shut up. Just own it. Own that you were wrong. Nothing's wrong with being wrong. Just go, oh yeah, we're all wrong sometimes. Old people playing games have better hand-eye coordination. Well, listen, they do say, J-Songs, that these people have improved. It keeps their mind sharp. It staves off Alzheimer's. Obviously, hand-eye coordination for an older person is important. I always heard that when we were coming up playing video games, and it was like, really? You're going to use that to like go, we're going to defend games because it improves hand-eye coordination? Who gives a shit? But when you're 75 years old, that can save your fucking life. You can kind of reach out and grab the railing, keep from falling and breaking a fucking hip, ending up in the hospital and dying. So there's a lot of benefits to playing this goddamn shit. Brian King says, Jaffe, are we watching CES on Monday together? It really depends. There is a 5 a.m. show, which I'm not going to get up for. And it's going to be, it's a weird virtual trade show because it is still a trade show. So not everything is open to the public. But what is open to the public and that people seem interesting, I think, yeah, we should totally watch that. Am I going to play God of War again? Maybe. I have so many things to play. I really enjoyed God of War a lot, but I don't really think I want to go back and try to 100% it when I have all these new Xbox games to play. I'm still trying to get through Demon's Souls. I'm still trying to finish Tsushima. Okay. I like how Fox News said we should respect their feelings are hurt. Well, again, it's a different thing, but, look, not the people who are trying to overthrow a free election, but do I think we need to stop mocking and ignoring people who have different views than us West Coast, East Coast, non-flyover city liberals? Yeah, I do. I think that's important. And I think that's why one of the big reasons we're here. But it doesn't mean we have to respect what they did. Okay. I want to talk about the best games of the year according to Metacritic users and how those line up with the scores. Now, the most interesting part the most interesting part of this to me, well, there's a couple of things. First, let me just show you this. There's something in this, and I know it's going to seem cynical, but I'm just going to say it. There's something fascinating to me, and there always has been, about the ratings of every other medium except video games. And I think, one of my mentors, Kelly Flock, died the other day. And we talked about it on the stream. He was the head of 989 Studios, the head of Sony Interactive Studios, a big fucking guy in the industry, made a lot of careers, improved a lot of people's lives. Really good dude. And one of the quotes he talked about, because he always gave PR a bit of a nightmare, because he would kind of say whatever the fuck he wanted. Maybe that's where I learned it. I don't know. But one of the things he said, though, is he's like, yeah, I don't really worry about PR, because frankly, most of the video game writers just want to be in development anyway. And he kind of said it jokingly, but as per most people who are genuinely funny, there's at least a kernel of truth. The only reason I bring that up now when I'm looking at this is I wonder how much of that has to do with video game criticism not being sustainable or viable as a career, whereas maybe being a movie critic at a time, or a film critic, or a TV critic is, because I don't understand. I don't know how else to explain it. When you look at the top movies of the year, the vast majority of these movies, you got a couple of them that hit into the 90s. Now up here, this is different. This is showing users versus critics. But even if you look at the best reviewed movies of the year, 91 and 90, the most one is 96. The vast majority are 60, 80s, high 70s, right? The same thing with TV shows. Better Call Saul is up there and Dark is up there. Most everything else is in like sort of the 80s and the 70s. Music is the same. The highest is 80, highest 91. But you have these lower, it's almost like there's like a 25% reduction in score on every other medium. Now look at video games. 93, 92, 90, 93, 95, 88, 93, 86. I don't really, there's something about this that feels wrong to me. There's something consistently about video game scores that feels wrong to me, that I just don't like. It makes me trust it less. It makes me go, if The Last of Us were a movie, this would probably be 80. If Ghost of Tsushima were a movie, it would probably be like 75, right? It's like, why are these so high, and does that pull you away from trusting these folks? Dev bonuses, Akashi, are no longer tied to Metacritic. I mean, maybe there's a few companies. That story gained traction when Warner Brothers Interactive did that for a while, and then they have since stopped. But I don't think most most viable companies that anybody would want to work for as a publisher are tying your wagon to the Metacritic score anymore. Right, Bukaki, you're right. A score of 5 is supposed to mean average, but if your game gets a 5, that means it sucks, which is absolutely crazy. The game media is younger than others. Yeah, not really though. That excuse, Brian, can only last so long. Let me give you a great counter to that argument, which is the games media. Because whenever you say the games aren't as well written, the games aren't as well written, the critiques aren't as wise. Let's all agree the first video game, let's just say for math's sake, because it was 70, 71. Well, I think 69 with Space War, but let's just say 70, 71 with Pong. Let's say 70 so the math is easy. You're talking over 50 years at this point, okay? A lot of people would say, the Lumiere brothers, Einstein, 1900, 1890, but let's just say 1900, the first real movie, Nickelodeons, things like that. The movies in 1950... nobody was looking at the movies in 1950 and going, oh, we don't take these serious as stories, or we don't take these serious reviewing because it's a young medium. They had the same amount of time that we as a video game industry have had, and none of those excuses were viable. That's not what this is about. This is about, I think Kelly Flock was right. This is about a lot of people who write about video games in terms of reviewing them are not very professional. They want to work in video games. This is kind of a layaway career for them. And I'm not blaming them. There may be no money in it. They may not be able to make a living doing it. I don't fucking know. But I don't get the sense that like a Roger Ebert of video games is really out there, or a A.O. Scott or a Pauline Kael of video games is out there. And again, that the business model of video game reviewing may demand that. I'm not saying these are lesser humans because of it. I'm just saying that it does make these scores a lot more suspect when you compare them to these other mediums in terms of how those get scored. Dea says games are held back by technology. Movies are not. What? A game that has the scope of Red Dead or Cyberpunk have more opportunity to fail than the biggest budgets movies because of complexity. But who gives a shit? That's ridiculous. I mean, that's the job of the screenwriter and the director and the producers. That's like saying that Avengers Endgame happened to get lucky and be good because the ambition just happened to match the scope. No, talented people match their ambition to the scope of the medium in which they're working. If the people who made Red Dead 2 looked at their ambition and said, the video game medium as we know it today is not capable of expressing this as good as we want it, then they should change their vision. That would be like me going into a movie studio and pitching a movie and saying it's 28 hours long and it's 3D and you have to be wearing pantyhose in order to enjoy it. You can't force the audience to do that? Oh, well, then that's the movie's fault. It's like, no, change my fucking story. Movie media has its boom just like music. Right now, games are having its peak. I'm sure things will change this generation. I appreciate that, Brian. He says, I love your work. I appreciate that. Pantyhose stream. You want me to zoom in? Sure. That's a different issue, Potato. Potato says Siskel and Ebert trashed anything that had violent sex, blood, and gore and talked about how bad and wrong it was. Whatever, but, you know. Grape King says, I believe entertainment is achievable whether or not a person chooses to subvert their mind and ideology to the media being processed through that person's... Holy cow, really? I believe entertainment is achievable whether or not a person chooses to subvert their mind and ideology to the media being processed through that person's condensed interconnection. That sentence doesn't really make sense. Here's how I know that sentence doesn't make any goddamn sense, okay? Because I'm relatively intelligent fella. Not crazy intelligent, but relatively. B, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. And C, it's written like it should make a lot of goddamn sense. But then there are lots of spelling errors and wrong usages of certain words, and lack of punctuation and lack of possessive punctuation. And so I think this is one of those sentences that's written to be impressive, but it fails. Grape King, I love you. You know I love you're here. Try again. Seriously, I think you have something interesting to say, but that sentence doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, sir. Okay. I love the Queen's Gambit. Yeah, it's great. It's a great show. It's a great show. Also, there are movies from the 40s, 70s, etc. that are still great and professionally executed regardless of the limitation of the tools. They knew how to put a composition together. Well, because they were focused on what they do well. There are games from Atari 2600 era that are still great. I mean, they're creaky and old and antiquated, but you can still pick up Miss Pac-Man and have a good time. You can still pick up Galaga and have a good time. It's because those were games built on what the medium does well, which is interactivity. Now you've got games that are trying to be movies, and in that, they fail as movies and they fail as games. And the press should call it out, and they don't. I don't know why, but they don't, and there you go. Okay. All right, let's move on. Hey, speaking of this, this is the user. Metacritic said 2016 Uncharted 4 was the best reviewed game. 93. Breath of the Wild 2017, 97. Red Dead 97, 2018. Last year Resident Evil 2, 93. And then this year Persona 5 Royal was the highest rated game, okay? Let me show you. Fuck off, Scott. Scott says, Jaffe, have you considered being a video game critic? You have the skill for it. Let's talk about this briefly. One day, gamers will wake up, like people like you, and you know I love you. Wink. People will wake up and they will say, isn't it silly that we absolutely thought people who played games well, that was impressive? When people try to use that I'm not a very good game player as like an insult, I'm like, motherfucker, do you know what I've done? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I have to do in my goddamn life every day? You think I give a fuck if I block enough in God of War? You think I give a fuck if somebody watching me play a game on stream is like, oh my God, his skills at DMC combat are off the fucking chain or hook or whatever. Come on. You want to insult me? That's fine. Pick something that matters, not my gaming skill. I know you're just fucking around. I'm fucking around with you too. But seriously though, I hear it a lot though. I'm just like, I see it on my comments when I play God of War. It's like, but this guy's terrible. So? I got 2 kids I'm raising. I've run 2 businesses. I'm trying to build a new business. I give money to charity. I vote. Got an education. I can't play the video game good. Yeah, well, fuck off. Okay. Was it your idea to put Sweet Tooth against Kratos? I think it was an obvious thing. It wasn't my idea, but I was like, yeah, go do something. And they were like, let's do this. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, anyway, so these are the games that Metacritic said, hey, these are the best games of those last 5 years. This was the most interesting thing, though. They have ranked the games on PC, PS5, Switch, and Xbox in terms of the best. So the number 4 best game on PC is got a 91, was Crusader Kings. PS5 is Demon Souls at 92. Yakuza on Xbox Series X is got a 90. It's number 4. And then Animal Crossing got a 90. It's be easier to do it this way. PC, the number 1 game is Alex. The number 2 game is Hades. Flight Sim is 3. Crusader Kings is 3. Spelunky is 5. PlayStation in general. Persona Royale, Last of Us 2, Dragon's Quest 11, S, Demon Souls. Switch has Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Animal Crossing. Xbox has Dragon Quest 11, some F1 2020, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Yakuza. So those are the best games of the year according to critics. Now, I will say, if you look at these numbers, and we're going to move on from this, I promise, but if you look at these numbers of fans, like the fans gave Last of Us 10,000, you drop down to 2,000 for Ghost of Tsushima. So clearly fans loved this game. It's a little weird that number 3 is Cyberpunk, given that people seem to hate it, but maybe they were playing it on Stadia or PC. But I will say, though, what is really unfortunate to me is, again, going back to the difference between this list and this media compared to other media, is everything here, for the most part, is a big mainstream game that people have heard of, that got a lot of press, that was marketed. But if you go up and you look, it doesn't mean, yeah, Taylor Swift's at the top, but you've also got some really small bands that are able to get into the top 15. If you go up to movies or TV shows, Penis on Hulu is a relatively minor thing. Normal People on Hulu, I May Destroy You on HBO. There just seems room in other medium for different, like for audiences to discover and care about and talk about and embrace different degrees of scope. But in video games, I know we make fun of Bacon Magma a lot, but Bacon Magma is a great example of somebody in games that's just, I only want the AAA. And that's fine. He has the right to think that. But I can't imagine most movie fans going, I will only watch Marvel movies, even if you tell me Soul is great. even if you tell me the Trial of the Chicago 7 or The Invisible Man is great, that's not big budget enough for me to watch and care about, and I'm just going to mock it. But I'm not saying brand new IP, Brian. I'm talking about smaller stuff. Like if you look at more indie games this year, there were some great indie games. There's nothing on this list other than Hades, which really, is that an indie game? Whatever. That would suggest the people making this list played anything other than mainstream console games. That's a good point, Rodrigo. Maybe because you have to buy games plus a console and PC. Yeah, it could be the business model again. Dell said that, not Bacon. Gotcha. Among Us is not even on this list. That's ridiculous. Did I miss Among Us? Yeah, well, it didn't come out this year. Maybe that's why it's not on this list. But you'd think that would be up here in the points. It's just a dumb thing to say, Danny. AAA is way better than indies. It's just not. It's not accurate. You can't say. I mean, you can say it, and I'm not saying you're not right in certain circumstances, but come on now. Okay. Anyway, let me show you one more thing real quick. I'll talk about that later. So here's the deal. Today is a bit of a short stream, only because in about an hour and a half, we are doing game night. We are doing Killing Floor 2 on PS4 and 5, and then we are going to jump to Warzone, and that's cross-platform and that's free. Everybody's welcome to play. I hope you guys come back and show up. Members get first priority seating. Thanks so much, Nitramask. I appreciate it. So we're going to wrap this stream up in a couple of seconds. I'll go to the chat, give you guys the last 5-10 minutes, whatever you guys want to talk about, and then we're going to take a break for about an hour and a half, and then come back and we're going to do game night, and we'll start with Killing Floor, and then we will move on to Warzone. Okay. Let me see what you guys want to talk about. Ed Boon is getting all the Mortal Kombat money when he was just the programmer. Ed Boon wasn't the programmer. Was Ed the programmer? Tobias created Mortal Kombat, the characters, the story, everything, but Boon never mentions him. I don't know anything about that potato quality. I know Ed Boon. He's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He has been instrumental in Mortal Kombat. I think that's wrong to say that it was all John Tobias. John Tobias may very well have created the characters of Mortal Kombat, but I mean, there's a lot more to Mortal Kombat than the characters. I'm not saying Tobias should be forgotten, and I don't forget Tobias. I'm very aware of him. I see Newt Sabat. I know where that comes from. Yes, I did see the Greg Miller thing. Rob the Mod sent me, Greg Miller was on Kind of Funny talking about why he changed his Twitter bio to be he, him. And, you know, I've been thinking about doing it anyway, and I've heard some people, you know, that are trans explain the value of it. And finally I saw it and I did it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I should do that. And I did that. Renew my Windows license. Is that what this thing means down here? I can't quite figure that out. I will play Last of Us 2. I think I will, because I have it. Potato says it was all John Tobias. He created all the designs for everything in the game and the story, the lore, every design. But this is why people who don't know things just shouldn't be allowed to speak. Look, Boone was just the programmer. Just the programmer. He was just the guy who figured out how to make it fun. He was just the guy who figured out how to make the hits feel great, how to get at the time the amazing technology of digitized sprites that looked like a movie at the time working. He's just the guy that tuned the game. Come the fuck on, man. Don't be a moron. It was all John Tobias. Well, you know what? I think if it was all John Tobias, then Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, not to mention all the spin-offs they've done with DC and Injustice, those things wouldn't exist because Tobias left, if I recall, after 3. I agree. It is a condescending statement from Potato Frank, very, very much. It's not just a lot of work to program something. It's half the fucking job back in those days. I Gnome Wizard said I thought they made up. I didn't know they were fighting. I just thought he left. Do I have any interest in playing Immortals, Phoenix Rising? No, only because I've already played it. I didn't finish it, but I liked it. I just wasn't really in the mood for a big open game like that. No symptoms. My kid feels much better today, and none of us have gotten sick. Thank God. I think it's cringe, says RPG, in terms of changing your profile, but do what you want. Well, of course I'll do what I want. I don't care if you think it's cringe. The way it was explained to me that made me go, oh, okay, it makes sense, is that if cisgendered people, which are people like myself that are born as a certain gender and they identify as that gender, if they also start making their pronouns clear, then the practice of doing it becomes normalized. And the reason it's important for them to say that's important, and why I think it's important is for it to be normalized, is because there is pain that comes from the sooner we have a society that doesn't just look at somebody and start making assumptions. And I know you're like, well, of course you're going to make an assumption because they're a guy, they're a girl. And it's like, that's just how we've been conditioned. We've been trained that way. The younger generation, by the way, I have teenagers, they don't see it that way. You don't have to specify pronouns, Rambo. But the younger generation, or at least a lot of them, they're just like going, well, yeah, if that person is a they or a them or a he or a she, what do I care? That's what they want to be called. But the older generation seems so, it's bad. How dare they? It's like, well, they're saying it makes them more comfortable. And I'm not above admitting that we are easily conditioned by societal norms, which is why there's societal norms. And if we've been conditioned to sort of look at gender as a foregone conclusion, and we're starting to realize that it's not really a foregone conclusion, then why would we not begin to change culture to arrive at behaviors that are more friendly and that are more supportive of other people? Michael Day says you cannot identify as something you're not. I don't really care what you think. I think unless you're trans or you know a trans person, and I do, I can't walk in their fucking shoes. You're talking about Elliot Page. That individual, that's their life experience. My son, that's his life experience. That would be like me. I mean, I don't know what their life is. You don't know what their life is. So, I mean, you can sit there, Michael Day, and you can say things like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sure, semantically, you're right. But we're not arguing semantics. We're arguing or debating or discussing the idea that there are people out there that in their heart of hearts, in their bones, feel, and it may be physiological, we don't know yet. There are recent studies that suggest that masculinity and femininity and male and female, there are chromosomal and there are microscopic aspects to what it means to be a certain gender that isn't just related to your what's betwixt your legs. So you could potentially have a penis, but your brain chemical makeup is the same brain chemical makeup that a girl is born with and gets and grows up with. And so to say to that person, you're just simply wrong is really ignorant and is really cruel, because I don't know that. I know the science. I've read the science that suggests that there may very well be brain chemistry involved with identifying as the gender that you are. I mean, there's literal parts of the brain, man, that if you get them damaged, one of the reasons they explain out-of-body experiences, there are parts of the brain that you can damage or massage or learn to train that will literally allow you to, this is crazy, but it's true, that will literally allow you to see yourself in third person And you're like, you don't really see yourself in third person, but what your eyes see, which they don't really see, they're building a picture based on data, is a simulation of what you think it would be like based on what you know of the room to see yourself outside your body. That's the scientific explanation for out-of-body experiences. So when you sit there and someone says, we're getting more and more evidence that the identification of gender is not just psychological and is not just physiological in terms of the outer part of the body, but there could be brain makeup that allows you to identify as the gender you're born with. And some people are born where that gets either because it's normal, but it's a minority, or it's a mistake or an aberration where that connection between the mental part and the physical part gets out of whack. You can't tell them that they're wrong. And think about that for the last moment. The last thing I'll say about it, and I'll go to the chat. Think about that for a goddamn moment. You're basically saying, it's always like, I have a gay brother, and I always was like, when people talk about choosing to be gay, well, that's your choice. People don't say that as much anymore, but that's what they said when we were growing up in the last 15 years. And I watched how hard it was for him to come out, and I watched the struggles, especially growing up in the South. Who would choose that? If you're a trans person and you see what bigotry and what just cruelty that trans people deal with and murder trans people deal with, who would make that choice? It's a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous thing. We're all born the way we are. Sometimes the body and mind don't match, says Albert. I agree. Just have empathy for people and be kind. That's right. Then it's either a psychological or physiological disorder. Yes. So what? Well, we don't know if it's a disorder, but that's a rabbit hole. What is a disorder? Right? Is anything that's out of the norm a disorder? Okay, fine. Then it's a disorder. But I don't know a trans person that would tell you that they don't have, according to what is defined right now, they don't have a mental illness. They know it's called gender dysphoria. So what? The idea that people like you, I think, want to label it like that. It's disorder, so it's bad. Well, it just is. There's nothing wrong with trans people. There's nothing wrong with gay people. There's nothing wrong with straight people. It's just what they are. So, but most of them will admit that, yeah, it's a disorder, sure. Che dropped a super chat. I appreciate it, buddy. He says, a guy sleeps with lots of girls and gets called a legend. A girl sleeps with lots of guys and gets called a whore. Must be better. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the comment. I don't know what the last part means where you say it must be better. You mean society must get better? I don't understand what you're saying. Jaffe, do you believe video games should be banned to play until you're 13? No, I don't. I don't at all. No. If you're a man and dress like a woman and vice versa, I don't care. We're different by our roles to carry a kid or implant a kid. Yeah. No. Yeah. Nobody disagrees. Hey Jaffe, I've always wanted to know why you and the team decided to make all Greek gods total assholes except from Athena. Well, I made the first God of War, and in the first God of War, there was Ares and there was Athena. I don't think we had a lot of other gods in that game. Ares was the bad guy because he was literally the God of War. And Athena, the goddess of wisdom, was the good guy because I associate wisdom with kindness and with good. But I don't think did we have any other gods really? I mean, we had like Poseidon, made a cameo and gave you a power. But that was because he was against Ares. It wasn't because he was an asshole. So I'm not quite sure what you mean. My Michael Day says, I don't have a problem with the people, the trans people. It's the idea of forcing me to change my beliefs or how I refer to people. They need to equally respect that. No one's forcing you to do anything. That's the funniest part about it, is that's why I'm going to be honest with you, man, and I want you to really hear this. That's why people push back against folks like you. Because, again, just like I don't know a trans person that will tell you they think gender dysphoria is a lie, they agree. It's a condition. I also don't know a trans person that would tell you that they think there should be a law that says you have to address them as a certain way. That has become a kind of horseshit wives' tale. Even the Canadian law doesn't actually say that. Most trans people I've talked to have said, you can call me what you want, but if you call me something else and you know it offends me and it hurts me, you haven't broken the law, but you are an asshole. And I think that's totally true. Novadamas says people are terrified of change. Well, get over it. Stop being terrified of change. I mean, why is it so fucking hard? I mean, I get that you're terrified, but work through it. No one is trying to be trans at you, says Frank. They're just trying to be happy. They have every right to seek their pursuit of happiness, of course. You can get banned on social media for not using the pronouns. So what? That's a private company. That's not, they don't owe you anything. Don't use their business. I could probably get banned for doing a lot of things on, I can get banned if I play too many songs that are not owned by me. But, you know, so what? It's a private company. The government can't make you do it in America anyway. Jay says, if a transgender man says he's a she, she's a she, you're still going to call him bro. Well, again, if your friend doesn't have a problem with that, great. But if they do, you're being an asshole. What about, Rambo says, trans identifying as female and playing female sports, dominating other born females and breaking records? How is it considered fair? I don't consider that fair. I think what you will hear from people who aren't emotional about it is they will say there is a point where the amount of either testosterone or estrogen or hormone blockers or whatever, there is a point where the individual that is going through that physiological transition has enough change in bone density and things like that, that you're talking about a fair competition. And at that point, I think it's fine. But yeah, if you're a man, or if you were born a man and grew up as a man, but you have always, or it doesn't matter when, but you are trans and you are a woman, and you go compete against other women, but you haven't done anything to change your body physiologically for long enough for it to make a difference, then I do not think you should be competing with those individuals. I don't think it's that hard. I think people make it hard because they want to kind of stand there and pound the drum, pro or con. But what's the problem? Just wait until sports are supposed to be fair. And, you're not going to put Mike Tyson in a ring back in his prime against Sugar Ray Leonard. They were both great, but there's clearly a difference. Jonas says, how can you be a man and feel like a woman? I don't know. Do you know? No, but there's lots of people who do. So I'm more inclined to believe those people, especially because A, it's none of my business, and more importantly, because who would choose that? Who would choose something that is so cruelly treated? Right, trans people know. Right. I can call myself a girl on the weekend to beat them in sports. It's ridiculous. Well, first off, if you're a man and you call yourself a girl simply in order to beat women in sports, you're not much of a goddamn man. That's number one. Number two is, I do think RPG that, professional sports are going to have to come to grips with it. And there are scientific ways to come to grips with it based on the changes of the body that goes through the physiological adjustments. And so, when that gets into place, it'll be fine. Jaffe says, Eric, what if a study came out that said gender dysphoria is bad? It should be treated. It is treated. The way it is currently suggested it gets treated is by transitioning. A lot of people like to cite the high suicide rate amongst trans people, but trans people will tell you, and I think this is absolutely true, one of the reasons the suicide rate is so high is it is an incredibly painful thing to be closeted about. And when they come out, they are treated awfully and terribly. The only thing that so far has historically worked, if you read actual data and actual reputable news, not shit from like the Christian Heritage Foundation, which is what people send me. It's like a super conservative think group. But if you read the real data from pediatrics and stuff says that we have found that allowing people to transition, not allowing, but supporting the transition is the only thing we have found to help. Now, if you're asking if a pill came along, kind of like, an anti-mutant gene that would make all LGBT people, quote, normal, I think that is very much like, yeah, you can call in, of course. I think that very much is like the X-Men at that point. I think if a gay person says, you know what, I don't like living my life this way, I'll take it. But I've talked to my brother before about it. I mean, he has said, there are challenges that come with being a homosexual, but he's like, I like being gay. He's like, I like men. I don't want to not like men. So, I think you would have to leave it up to the individuals to determine if they want to, take it or not. With athletics, I'm a bit conservative about trans athletes until we get better science. Men biologically enjoy the benefits. Right. I don't think as big of a supporter as I am of all people, and certainly because of this conversation we're talking about LGBT folks. I still agree. I think trans men and trans women should be able to compete with their gender, which is women and men, in the sports. But I think you do need to take into account where they are along in their physiological transition. And depending on where they fit, simply to be fair, you put one in, no one is saying if you have a trans woman and she only recently got on estrogen and she only recently, did whatever physiological changes, then I would say, yes, of course you're a woman. You absolutely should be competing with other women. But right now, because of your unique situation, you are still showing outwardly, I forget the verb a lot of trans people use, but you are presenting as male. And until that abates, which it will, which is wonderful, you need to compete with men, even though, yes, you are a woman. I don't think that's a problem. And I think to think that's a problem is probably more because it's used as a wedge issue. I think most logical people would say, yeah, sports are supposed to be fair. That needs to be taken into account. Okay. Oh, Lord, here's Dell the Gamer. All right, we're going to bring Dell on just for a minute. Hang on. 1 second, Dell. All right. Dell the Gamer. What's up, pal? What's up, Bacon Magma? How you doing? Unmute your mic, you old so-and-so. I don't know. What if the study said that gender dysphoria is not good health-wise, like it would literally kill you, and you should take the medicine to be straight again? Would the gay community accept it, says Eric? I mean, that's, person by person. I think, I'll tell. I would assume the answer to that would be the same thing my therapist told me when she put me on Vyvanse. And when she put me on Vyvanse, she said, or I said, hey, I hear that this, and Vyvanse is for ADD and better focus. And I said, I hear though that the Vyvanse will, maybe not be so good on your liver if you take it every day because, your liver has to process all that toxin out. And she says, yeah, that's true. You might live a few years less because of it, but you have to weigh do you want to live longer and struggle to fucking clean your house and pay your bills because you're ADD, or do you want to have a better quality of life and maybe have a couple years less? And I think it's the same thing. I think if you come up with a pill and say, take this pill, any LGBT aspect of you will vanish, which I think is ludicrous and untrue. I think it's totally up to, apply it to straight people. If someone came to me and said, take this pill, but you got to go learn to love the cock, because when you take the pill, you're going to have to learn, you're going to like dick. But if you don't take it, you're going to die in 5 years. It would be the exact same thing. I'd be like, well, I guess I would take it, frankly, because right now I can't fathom loving dick. But if someone said, take the pill and it'll be just like you love the vagina, I'll be like, okay. And I get to live to 80, 90, 100 years old and see my kids grow up. Perfect. Line them up, boys. Where's the dicks? But let me take the pill first, please. Clip it all you want. All right, Turtle. Oh, shit. We got Pete Turtle in the chat. What's up, baby?
Yo,
Oh, shit. Here we go. What's up?
I heard you were talking about transsexuals, and I thought I had to be here for this.
Transgender, yeah. What's going on?
What's the difference between transgender and transsexual?
My understanding, and I don't really know, but my understanding is that transsexual now is kind of a dated term that carries with it certain offensive aspects. I don't know what they are, but that's just what I've been told. So I choose.
I mean, that's insane.
Why is that insane, P Turtle? What I'm telling you is I don't know. And if you're asking me, that means you don't know either. So what's insane is jumping to a.
The answer is insane. That's insane.
You're jumping to a conclusion. That would be like me coming to a new country or coming from outer space and somebody saying, "Don't use the N-word." And I say, "Why?" And you go, let's say you're kind of dumb. It's not a stretch. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of dumb, and you go, "I don't really know why. I just hear it's really offensive." Instead of going, "That's insane," go, "Oh, I should probably look into why it's offensive." I don't know why it's offensive. You don't know why.
Can I tell you? Okay.
You don't know why.
Can I tell you what I think is dumb?
Yes, please.
What I think is dumb is that you stop using a word and substitute it for another word, and you don't even know why you did it, other than the fact that it makes other people comfortable. That's stupid.
I stopped using I never use the N-word, but I don't use the N-word.
N-word, I was just talking about the word being transsexual. You switched to transgender.
But it's the same thing, though. It's that I have people in my life that either are trans or are black that have said to me, and it's made clear to me through the media, these are words that we find offensive. And as a human who wants to be nice to people and good to people and care about people, I go, oh, okay. Message received loud and clear, not a problem. I will work with you and I will respect that. It's not nothing's ridiculous about it. The only way it's ridiculous is if you're an asshole.
No, that's not true, because people like that can take advantage of things. They can just start applying that to any word.
Wait a minute. Okay, then the problem is not an individual word. The problem is that you've got somebody in your life you're dealing with that takes advantage of you. That's different. Kick those fuckers to the curb.
Look at that. That whole movement is taking advantage of this.
How in the world is the black community taking advantage of people who are not black?
Why are you talking about the black community?
Because it's exactly the same thing. The N-word is a word that has been made clear that is offensive. Okay, yeah. So people who are kind and considerate, and frankly, if you're in 7-Eleven in certain states, don't want to get your ass beat down, you don't say the N-word. Okay.
So
let me finish. So your point is that people who have this power of saying I'm offended by this word, don't say it, can now start taking advantage. So whether you're talking about a trans person, a gay person, a black person, what advantage have black people gotten over the years? Because they've told people, I really prefer you not say the N-word, it's offensive. How are black folks taking advantage of me because I don't get to say the N-word?
Well, easily. They can get people kicked off platforms, people they disagree with. And I just want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
Nobody uses I don't even like saying the N-word, but out of respect for your thing, I'll say that.
Yep.
But nobody uses the N-word more than black people. So
Right,
they
and
can put it in.
that's
they can
right.
Put it in their music.
That's right, and they have a right to.
Right.
That's
and let's say a white person buys their music. They have a right to. And guess what? As somebody who buys their music. Now, I'm not white, but as somebody who buys their music, right? They make music for the consumer. The consumer then could be white. You pay to go to a concert of theirs.
Yep.
But then you recite the word and you're somehow bad. Well, then you're making money off that word.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You're promoting that word. You're popularizing that word.
Yep.
But you can't use that word. I mean, look at
you can absolutely use that word if you want. But
okay, but I'm talking about with the vast majority of leftists and media and all that demonizing. I want to say this real quick. Who's that rapper, the California rapper who brought that fat white girl up on the stage?
It wasn't Drake, was it?
No, it wasn't Drake.
I know you're talking about. He brought this woman on stage. He says, "Come up here and sing my song." She got and
then he makes a fool out of her.
Well, Kendrick Lamar. She got to the part in the song where there's the N-word, and she said it, and he did what I thought was appropriate. He stopped the concert and basically was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So look, man. I mean,
that's racism. That's real racism.
No, I don't think so.
So everybody in that concert who paid good hard money can recite that word as long as you're black. You're white? Hey, I don't care. I take your money, and guess what? You're not allowed to do this. And you are
absolutely allowed to do it. The guy in 7-Eleven. Well, it's a private business, but in America.
Exactly, but I can kick. I can have a private business, but if a gay person comes and wants to buy a cake, I have to sell it to them.
No, you don't. Shoot. No, you don't. The Supreme Court.
You can't do it if it's a religious thing. That's why that guy got away with it.
Okay, well, got away with it.
I'm talking about if I just had a regular self-owned bakery and a guy comes in, a gay guy comes in with his boyfriend, and I'm like, hell no, man, I ain't supporting this. You guys are weirdos.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm getting sued. I might be going to jail. There goes everything.
Right, because because there's the Equal Rights Amendment, right? Because you're basically.
How come that doesn't exist in Kendrick Lamar's concerts?
Because usually equal rights amendments or laws are built to protect groups that are historically been oppressed. A white woman on stage saying an offensive word that society has deemed offensive is not currently covered under the Equal Rights Protection Act. But sure, if our society wants to say that's a real problem, that white people who have benefited, and I'm not like a white race hater. I have no problem being white. I have no problem with black people, yellow people. It doesn't matter to me.
You are a leftist weirdo. No offense.
I'm a progressive. I'm beyond leftist. Okay?
All right, well, progressive weirdo.
Well, reporting for news, I got no problem with that. But, to be weird in the eyes of a racist asshole, great. Mm-hmm. But the point...
Well, how are you going to call me racist? I'm not even white. I'm just making a point.
My point, though, is that when you're talking about a community that has been historically oppressed, as much as I am not one of these I hate my own race people, the white people in America, in this country, have a lot to answer for. And it doesn't mean whites are bad. It doesn't mean whites are evil. It doesn't mean that I hate my race. But we have benefited off indigenous people. We have benefited off black people, our economy, our foundation, and we have systemically made choices that have pushed other people down so we can rise up. And so do I think that a woman who goes on stage and says something like the N-word deserves to go to jail? Of course not. I would defend her right. It's a free country. She can say what she wants. But does a private business have the right to kick her out? Of course they do. Just like a private business just kicked Donald Trump off Twitter today. I mean,
right. Just saying, and as a private business, I can't tell two gay guys like, hell no, you get your butt plugging bastards out of my restaurant. I don't want to serve you anything.
You could tell them that, but you would probably get sued, and you would correctly get sued because.
So why can't I do that with Twitter? Why can't I do that at a concert?
Well, because if you are private businesses are able to say this is allowed and this is not allowed. However, the private businesses are still subject to the Equal Rights Amendment. They're still subject
to... But that's not equal, I'm saying.
It is, well, then you're just arguing the semantics of the name of the bill. The bill is created in order to bring equality to everyone.
But I'm exposing the flaw there. And
you're not exposing the flaw. The Equal Rights Amendment exists because there is systemic racism and systemic misogyny in the country. So it's an equal rights amendment in that it's trying to create equality. It's not equal rights in the sense that everybody gets treated equally. Mm-hmm. So anyway, agree to disagree. Thanks for calling as always, P. Turtle.
I get to the trannies though.
Okay, if you say that, no, you're off. Do not use that word. Do not use that word. That is an offensive word. You can always call back, but you can't call back and use that word, man. Not having it. Face Pines, are you there?
Hi, Jaffe. How are you?
Oh, good. You're really loud. What's going on, man?
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm too close to the mic.
That's my guess.
Is it better now?
A little bit, yeah. What's going on?
So, first of all, English is not my first language, so I'm sorry if I stumble around.
Don't worry about it. Not a problem.
Also, big fan of the God of War franchise. I still remember the first time I played it. I was like 12, I think, and I was blown away. So thank you for that.
Well, a lot of us made it, but on behalf of all of us, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And thank you for playing our game. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So you were talking about all the trans issues and the LGBT issues, and I see how for many people it's hard to understand the concept that sex and gender are different things and not the same.
That's right.
And maybe I'm completely wrong. If I am, please correct me so that I can correct me. So, but I think an interesting analogy that I thought about in my head is that, for example, the body is like a shell, and the gender is like the soul. So you can have a shell of the sex of a man, but your soul or your brain, the brain chemistry, is that of a female. So I think that's an interesting analogy. Maybe it's a little strange, but
no, I think I think the thing is we don't understand and we don't know enough about it yet, and so ultimately, it really comes down to that. It really comes down to you don't know what these people are feeling, and there's this kind of victim mentality that a lot of people seem to have in America, where it's as if you can't tell me what to do. Like they really get offended. Like they act like someone's trying to run their fucking life. And all these people are trying to do is say, look, you're being an asshole. Stop being an asshole and start trying to be a bit more compassionate. And instead people get so, at least certain people get, instead of just going, oh, okay, I appreciate that. Nobody wants to be a dick. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. People are like, yeah, you can't tell me what I can say. That's too much effort. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, what an asshole. We have a lot of assholes in this country, sir. All right, look, I appreciate the call, though. Thank you so much, Face.
No problem.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too, sir. There you go, man. There you go. There's our calls. Does the soul exist? I don't know. I don't know. What Kratos do you prefer, Dominus Kratos or the original? I'm going to give you a hint, Spartan Gaming. I know you're putting together your website and stuff. I don't think about it. I don't mean I don't care. Jay, just join the Discord, baby. I'll put you on. I don't mean I don't care. Like I don't like, oh, your question's stupid. Of course it's not stupid. I appreciate you asking it. But when I say I don't care, it's just Kratos, man. It's just, I don't mean it's just the game. I mean, I love the game. I love the character, but I don't think about it. It's not on my radar. I just like Kratos. I like having worked on the games. And that sounds like I'm blowing off your question. I'm not. I'm trying to make it clear that I think maybe when you work on something, instead of just being a fan of it, you just have a very different relationship with it. So if I'm a big fan of the show The West Wing, right? If I met some of the actors on The West Wing, I would probably just be like, oh my God, did you know? And tell me about this when Toby said this. Did he mean this or did he mean this? Because as a fan, you spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about this stuff and in submersing yourself in this stuff. But as a creator, whether you're an actor or whether you're a designer or director, you're in it for a couple of years, and then you're out, and then that's it. And so a lot of times is if you were to ask me what's the difference between Kratos Dominus and Kratos as is, I wouldn't even know. I don't really know even what you mean. And that's not disrespectful. I just don't fucking know. There are no limits on anything you can ask if you want to call Bacon Magma. You just can't use hate speech. And you can't be an asshole. We can disagree. At this point, anybody can call in Kuristafa about anything because we've gone through the game stuff. We're about to take a break and do game night in about an hour, but I'm down for chatting a little bit if you guys want to chat. So jump on the call and let's talk about whatever you want. I think Kratos Dominus, I think what he means is there's a character, when he was originally called Dominus, he looked a little bit different. Joe says, Toby Ziegler was such a great character, even though he was grumpy, brilliant, and wanted to be left alone. I love that character. Absolutely. John Moore says, I think the soul exists, and once we die, we enter another body, reincarnation. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't want to do game night now, because I need to take a break and get dinner between now and then. But would you play Injustice 2 with you? Yeah, I mean, I'll fight you. Yeah. What system do you have it on? All right, Kuristafa, what's up, man?
So I wanted to ask something about something that's been in my head about the Capitol Hill riots, and it's this. So the Second Amendment, one of the biggest reasons it was created was a sense of it to give power to the people. So if there was ever a tyrannical government, the people could then, overtake the government and take control again. But do you think that that is not valid for what happened days ago, in a sense that, no, those people were not allowed to do what they did? I'm on the side of, people should kind of be, these are, Congress, they work for us, they work for the people, so the people, in a sense, should be allowed to do something like that, but I'm not for the vandalism and the destruction of property. But I think you understand where I'm coming from.
I don't actually, because you bring up this. Are you talking about guns, or what are you saying they should be allowed to do? I don't understand.
Was it okay for them to? Yeah, was it okay for them to kind of storm the office and say, "Hey, we know you guys want Joe Biden, but we want Donald Trump, and we the people are storming to kind of show you that we want Donald Trump"? Was it kind of a
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with one person or the entire country saying we want to protest loudly and vocally and obnoxiously. And I don't mean obnoxious like I think they were obnoxious, although they were, but I mean in terms of being a pain in the ass and a thorn in someone's side. That is legally protected, and it's one of the bedrocks of the country. Hang on a second. Codifier, I'm going to put you on mute for a minute. But I think where you get into the gray area is when you talk about how they choose to express that. And so obviously let's agree that, whether you think it's justified or not, just like with certain people with Black Lives Matter, I happen to feel some of the looting and anger is justified, but it's still illegal what a lot of the people who broke into Target and stuff did. So certainly breaking windows and making threats and, smearing fecal paste, which they did all up and down the halls of Congress, that shouldn't be allowed. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't be allowed to protest the government. But at that point, what you're basically saying, if you don't apply other laws like battery, assault, vandalism to it, you're basically saying that a person should be allowed, if they have a problem with the government, to do whatever they want to protest. And that's fine, but that's what these people were doing. They were trying to incite a revolution. They were trying to, there were people literally going through the halls saying, we're looking for Mike Pence. We want to lynch Mike Pence. And I can't stand Mike Pence. I don't think the man should be fucking lynched on the steps of the fucking Capitol. So no, I don't think that was okay, but I think they have a right to protest the government as loud and as obnoxiously as they want to.
Okay, I do appreciate that, and I guess one more thing is like, do you think the idea of a revolution like now would be good or bad? I understand a revolution in general is bad, but in the whole world history, the history of the whole world, we've had countless revolutions, some being good, some being bad. So what do you think your opinion on this like idea of a whole revolution now?
Well, what a revolution based on what these people want to base it on, or a revolution in general?
A revolution in general, because based on what these people would want, I would argue that'd be not a good.
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, I think that America is fundamentally broken. I think America is built, and this is, I'm not saying anything wise. It's a cliche, but I think it's true. I think America is built, on the back of the original sins of America, which is sort of how we treated the Native Americans and slavery. And we have yet to move beyond that, and we have yet to really heal. And I think we have a wonderful system in capitalism and free market, but it's too free. And it gives rise to a lot of greedy assholes and people who harm a lot of other people. And so I think there are fundamental changes that have to happen to the country that may not be possible without revolution. But if you were to ask me, I would say I would prefer to take as Obama was quoting, sort of the slow, steady march of progress in the right way than do it through revolt. And I'd like to sort of evolve to be the country that we're supposed to be versus tearing it all down and trying to hope that what we build in its place fixes what we don't like. So I think there are fundamental problems with America. I'd like to solve them through our system versus killing each other if we can. But I think if we don't solve them, we're definitely heading towards revolution. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Jaffe.
Yeah,
I really
man.
appreciate it.
See you soon, Kirstoff. Call back anytime, bud. All right. There was that other person I kicked out. If you want to come back in now, I'll take your call. The country's degenerated into identity politics and backroom dealings anyway. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Scott says,
Yo, Jeff.
All right, what's up? Okay, Codifier, let me get Dell the Gamer first, and I'm going to... Actually, Codifier, you called first. Dell, let me get him first, and I'll bring you on, okay?
All right.
Hang on one sec. All right, Codifier, you there? You got to unmute, buddy. If not, I'm going to bring Dell back on. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, Dell, come back in, bud. Sorry, he doesn't know he doesn't know how to unmute. All right, this is Dell the Gamer. All right, you going to go get some food and intro? No problem, buddy. Dave, I will play Last of Us 2. I don't know if I'll play it for long. Well, it's Bukkake Drive-By. What's up?
Hey,
what's up, man?
Why aren't you using the call-in show channel with the little lock so that you can control who comes in and out?
Because I didn't know there would be that many people calling, Mom.
Oh, well, I'm just keeping an eye out for you. Any manner of man of ill repute or not could just stumble in here and say any manner of word, whether accepted by society or not.
That's a good
just looking
point.
out for you, pal.
That's a good point. Why don't you stay in here and play bad cop, Bukkake? Don't go anywhere. Deal?
Okay.
Codifier, what's up? Okay, Codifier, fuck it, baby. You don't know what you're doing. Delta Gamer, come. Okay, there we go. What do we got? Now we got Joe in. God damn it, motherfuckers. Bukkake's right. All right, I'm going into the call-in show channel. I've had it. Bukkake, you were right. Let me bring you in there too. Now, okay, Bukkake, are you in there with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, now if you want to call, here's Dell the Gamer. Let's bring on Dell. Dell the Gamer, go. What do you want to talk about? Unmute Del the Gamer. Come on now.
I can hear Dell.
You can hear Del? I can't hear him.
Yeah, I can. Did you block him or something?
I did. All right, Del the Gamer, what's up, man?
All right, can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you, baby. What's going on?
All right, on the test of
That's
season
weird. Now
3,
I can't hear him.
episode 2, on the test of season 3, episode 2, at the 11 minute 30-second mark, you tell the contestants that you're aroused by them. Which one are them?
Can you send me that link? We'll watch it together. Is it on YouTube?
All right, bet.
It seems terribly inappropriate, but let's see what.
Does he think aroused only means that you get a boner?
No, I probably got a boner. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I was probably just trying to make. I was. What the fuck? I was trying to make funny TV, but I probably was serious. I don't know. I'd have to see it.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like something you'd do.
Not now. I'm a bit more, I'm a bit more mature these days, but I probably would have back then.
You are? What the fuck?
A little bit. If you're okay, Rob knows what he's talking. Rob says it was the clowns, Jaffe. Look, there was a redheaded girl that was pretty hot. Was it the redheaded clown? Maybe I was talking about her. I don't know. I need to see this. Dell's trying to expose me for what? For being attracted to a woman? Oh, you got me, pal. I'm really ashamed.
Scandal of the century. Holy shit. You're from a hot lady?
I know. Yeah. Send me the goddamn thing, Del the Gamer. God damn it.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Well.
I want to see Jaffe shoot a shot and fail.
I don't even know what I was doing, though. I guarantee you I wasn't shooting my shot. Sexist? It's not sexist.
I'm sure there was something in the back of your mind where you were like, man, if I say this stupid thing on this TV show, maybe she's going to be like, man, this guy's got balls. I want to suck his dick.
Maybe. Okay, let's bring it. Here it is. We got it from Del. Okay, hang on, Del. Let me bring this up. Okay. Call back in, Del. Because I need to know the time you're talking about. Okay, hang on.
You said like 11 minutes, 30 seconds, I think.
Oh, he put a link in there. Okay, hang on. Let me put it on the screen so you guys can see it. Okay. Yeah, it's not that guy. Hang on. Here we go. All right, here it is. Oh, wait, let me bring in Del. Hang on. Look at that. Look at that handsome gent. All right, Del, we got it queued up. Let's watch this. You ready?
Yeah, the 11 minute 30-second mark.
11 minute and what?
30-second mark.
Okay, we'll give it a 20-second roll. Here we go.
All right.
Oh.
The co-game director and creator of Twisted Metal, Mr. David Jaffe.
Oh man, seeing David Jaffe as one of the freaking judges had me bawling in tears on the
Yeah, I'm aroused by that guy. What do you want?
inside. Can't cry on the outside.
Well, I hear these guys talking about how creepy y'all. I feel like I'm like with my people.
That guy arouses me.
By some of you, but I'm not going to tell you which one. So.
Yeah, so that's the one right there, the redhead. There you go, Del. You see her? You looking at her?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, she's good looking. What do you think about her?
She's straight.
I don't know what that means.
6.
What?
6. 6 out of 10.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that's
Jaffe,
that.
Or Del pulls hotter tail than that every
Right,
weekend, dude. He's not impressed.
Were you calling to try to shame me? Was that the idea?
I've been wondering who it been like this whole time.
Who did you think it was?
Jaffe. I just wanted to know who it was.
But who did you think it was?
I don't know. That's the question. I want to know.
Well, I mean, let's look at our options, pal. That guy, no offense, but he's not my cup of tea. Yeah, I'm waiting for the time to catch up. It was this guy, Del. Look on your screen. That's the one.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you answering, Jeff.
Anytime, Del the Gamer. Hey, by the way, so I sent you a truck. You sold the truck on eBay and you lost money, huh?
No, I was just playing about that. I still got the truck.
Okay, sell it. Let me know what you made. I don't got a problem with that.
No, I'm not gonna sell that on eBay.
All right. Well, are you? Hey! Are you coming to game night tonight?
No.
You're not gonna play Warzone? The fuck's the matter with you?
I hate Call of Duty now. I don't play COD.
Oh, you're not gonna play Killing Floor? What the fuck?
I already got the platinum in it, and I don't feel like playing it no more.
No, that's okay to be shitty at a game. I appreciate that, Dell. All right, buddy. Thanks for calling, bud.
Jaffe, he's whooped your ass every time you guys have played.
At Mortal Kombat, but he clearly is too chicken shit to jump on a shooter. I appreciate that. We're not all good at everything, Dell. That's fine.
I'm just saying, as it stands now, he's a better gamer than you.
Oh no! Oh no! Goodbye, Dell the gamer.
All right.
Bacon Magma. Sorry, whatever. All right, let's bring in.
This might be funny to you, but you mocking the gamer community
I know.
Gave you your livelihood isn't cool.
Hey, listen, I didn't mock the community. I just mocked people who think being a good gamer is something that's gonna, to write home about. Collider, you are currently muted. Can you hear? No, you're not. Hang on. Collider, are you there? Bukaki, can you hear Codifier?
I'm here.
All right, what's up, man?
Yes.
Hey, man, I'm gonna keep it real short. Just want to say, man, I love you, man. Like, dude, Twisted Metal has been a huge part of my life, and I go back to playing it as a kid and stuff. And me and my buddies actually pressed the vinyl soundtrack, pressed the soundtrack on vinyl, and I don't know, it just brings me a lot of nostalgia, and I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Thanks, man. And I think have you seen?
Wait.
Yeah.
Did you make Twisted Metal?
Fuck off, motherfucker. Did you?
Well, whatever.
Did you send me a link to the picture of the vinyl press? Because somebody has sent me a Twisted Metal soundtrack picture of the record. Is that you, or you didn't do that?
I don't know if it was me or if it was one of my buddies. But,
gotcha.
There's only like 5 of them, but we pressed it illegally, of course.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Good for you. Well, I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you playing our games, man, and thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
First of all, how dare you illegally do that? I'm sure all those artists from that game from like a decade ago are suffering.
I think
you will burn in hell, sir.
I think Bukaki's just upset that. Hey, Cod, can you say something nice to Bukaki? Because no one has ever said anything nice to him.
Oh,
that's true.
To Bukaki, man. I don't know what to say other than try harder, man.
There you go. Suck it down, Bukaki. Here is our good pal Nash. What's going on, buddy? Oh, Nash. Let's go. Let's go.
Hello. Am I here?
You are here. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Sorry. All right.
You're really soft. Can you be louder?
Oh, I think I know how to fix that. One moment. I think I know how to fix that. Let me know if this helped.
Well, Jaffe, if you had headphones, it might not be that bad.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you're good. All right, what's up?
All right, cool. So, sorry, I got to pause the stream here. All right, sorry. I just want to go. I'm sorry to do this, but I couldn't let the trans issue end in such a bad light.
Okay, go.
All right, so I do want to say this as a person who is part of the LGBT and who is super lefty, like incredibly lefty. I really got to put out some facts for a lot of people that people just don't understand. One, and some things are already been said before, but I just want to clarify a few things. One, for the last guy, you can totally not be white and still be racist. That's super possible. That comment he made earlier is not correct. You can still be racist and not white. Number 2.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to do some stupid stuff. Thank you.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I was so heated. And I'm still having that fire, but it definitely cooled down.
No, I don't think that's what Bukaki means. I think he was about to do some racist shit. All right, keep going, Nash. Right. Keep going.
Second thing, people, yes, like the other guy said, people have to understand that both sex and gender are 2 different things. Sex is all the biological stuff, but gender is just a social construct. It is something that we as human beings have materialized through our through society, through society. Like, gender was not discovered in a rock millions of years ago. You know, it's not a physical thing. We have made it up. It is what we see through eyes and what we built up. All right.
No, I think that's true, and I also think that I would even suggest that because people get people say, oh, well, because it's, quote, natural, which I guess it is for, hang on. I didn't even get the noun out yet. You don't even know what I'm saying is natural. It's natural to put a penis in a vagina to make a baby. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's a natural thing. But I agree with you that just because we have associated the word male and female with the people who do one thing versus the people who do the other thing, that's not the same thing, which is what you're saying. Gender has nothing to do with the biological functions of sex, but it's so ingrained that people just can't get their heads around it.
One of the things that people always try to push on is the idea of tradition, right? Sex and gender. Yeah, it's dumb because the quickest way you can break that apart is go like, well, if you're in a funeral, like what, as a guy, what do you wear? And he goes, and they would usually wear like a black suit, you know. And then like, why would you wear a black suit? Well, because, you know, I'm a guy. And like, why, what was the biological reasoning of you wearing a suit and tie because you're in a funeral? Why can't you wear a dress? Like, when does it stop, you know? Like, that's when you have to really think about where you go like, well, this argument breaks apart about tradition and stuff like that. I was about to say one more thing, and that is, again, curse my ADD. I hate this. I have a whole thing planned out. That's why I always got to write it down, but I don't. I hate you, David Jaffe. You always screw me over with this.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Nope. Yeah, that's it. No, it flew out of my brain. Crap. Maybe one day I'll remember and I'll call back.
All right.
But I do remember this. I do want to say this.
Yes.
Before I go.
Yes.
And that is, David Jaffe, you should totally do a little commentary look at one of those what do you call those? Those fast plays, quick plays, those speed runs. That's it. You should look up a video of a speed run of God of War and do reaction live. I think that would be fun for people to watch.
Speed runs make me very nervous.
Oh yeah? Well,
yeah.
Wait, why so?
Because the minute you mess up, you're fucked. And it just doesn't look like any fun to me at all. It looks like defusing a bomb. It's just the most unfun way I can imagine to play a game.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that you should join it. I'm just saying, like, I would love to see what you would think of, like, breaking the game that you created.
Okay. I'll take a look and see if it'll make some good content for sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, man. That's all.
All right, are you coming to game night tonight? Come on, Nash. Don't be a fucking baby.
Yeah. I'll definitely be there. I already downloaded the game. I have it on the PlayStation 4. If it's easy to set up, that'd be cool. Also, Jaffe.
Yep.
Give me your Xbox game card. I want to join. I want to be Jaffe's best friend.
I think it's Indiana Jaffe. It's the same.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be harder to get that information, aren't you?
No, because I've been on Game Pass for a long time. Oh, I see what you mean.
All right, well.
All right, we'll see.
You'll see me.
We'll see you on there.
You'll see me there.
All right.
Later, bro.
See you, man. Bye. All right, Turtle, hang on. I'm bringing in Spaz.
Nice
Spaz.
call, but I just want to say.
Oh, yeah, Bukkake, go. Go, Bukkake.
People know the facts, and they just don't give a fuck because they're just set in their ways, and the facts are wrong because, you know, the Bible or whatever. So you can spout as many facts as you want. You ain't going to be changing any hearts and minds. It all comes down to, like, people's personal experiences and things like that. And also, everyone asking how to join the Discord call, go into Discord, click on the voice party chat, and Jaffe will drag you into the call-in show channel.
That's right, like a caveman dragging his woman into the cave. What is up, Spaz?
I just wanted to say I'm going to kick your ass at Call of Duty.
What's that?
I'm going to kick your ass at Call of Duty.
That's probably true.
Okay, bye.
All right, see you tonight. Bye, Spaz. Bye, Spaz. Hello, Legends. What's up?
Legends.
Hello?
Legends. What's going on?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Nope.
No, I wanted to talk about how the concept of, because I believe in Jesus and I believe in God.
Okay.
So the concept in this world I was thinking about was there's weak people and there's strong people. And the messed up thing about this world is strong people are supposed to protect the weak but don't. And these weak people go through these trials and tribulations and it screws them up. And I'm thinking, do that goes into consideration where they want to change their sex and their genders and all of that? Because it's not fair. There's no balance in the world between women and men. Men got their problems and female got their problems. Are these people that's weak are strong enough to handle what we go through each and every day?
Okay, so are you? I hear you. I appreciate the call. I'm not entirely sure what your point is, though.
Being strong and weak in this world, it changes people? I don't know if you can think of their perspective of the LGBTQ community and stuff, but that goes into consideration? Like, I feel like we are going to go to a point of where we're going to, there's going to be a revolution because too many people are hurting in the world. When too many people hurt, that's usually when it happens.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You got kids that's getting raped, might have to go through bullying and all of that.
Yeah, I agree with you that that we may end up having a revolution, and I think a lot of it comes. I mean, it all comes from just people not being fully, developed and evolved, because we're very greedy and fearful creatures. But regarding the weak, strong thing, I don't put anybody in or off the LGBT community in. I don't think one is weak and one is strong. I know a bunch of LGBT folks that are much stronger than I am and much more capable of picking up a rifle and defending the country than I am. So that doesn't resonate with me. But sure, I think we should look. Everyone is strong and weak in their own way in a lot of ways, unless they're like mentally hurting. And so I think we should all be there for each other. I think the fact that we have this scarcity mindset, and everybody thinks they just have to be out for themselves. And that's what causes a lot of problems, because we're terrified we're going to end up starving and living in a box and not be able to take care of our family. So it's bad, man. Hopefully we'll survive long enough to improve the race.
That's funny you should say that, Jaffe, because I hit you up the other night because I needed to pay off a gambling debt, and you told me to go fuck myself. Where was my helping hand then?
That's called tough love. That's called tough love.
There it goes.
It broke my knees, Jaffe. I can't work now.
Like you ever put in a hard day's work in your life. All right, legend. Thank you for the call, sir.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go.
Also, is because these corporations are hurting people.
Yeah.
They get by on them because they know the system and they suck them dry for their money.
That's right.
That's why people are hurting.
And it's terrible.
Putting things in line to stop these corporations. 5 bigger corporations: Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon. Who else? The other two.
There's a lot, but there's Oracle.
Yeah, it's 5 of them that the government just pulled and had a whole thing on about.
Yeah, we need better regulated capitalism. We need regulations.
Guys, corporations don't want to hurt people. They just want to make money, and if they got to have some slavery and some people killing themselves over it, then that's just the price of business.
Yep, that's right.
And that's how I feel like it should be limits on that.
There should be.
I feel like each of these big corporation that makes billions of dollars should cover American infrastructure. That makes sense. Instead of getting tax breaks, it should be Facebook covering infrastructure, Amazon covering what the U.S. Postal Service do for the government. You're American, you should be protecting America. These big corporations should have that responsibility.
Right. I don't disagree. I don't know if I agree specifically with what you would have them do, but I absolutely agree with you that these corporations are getting away with what amounts in a lot of ways to murder, and in that. I think it's a problem, but the problem is we have elections that are that are so expensive that we need federally funded elections so we can get these corporations out of the political system, and we can get politicians actually making rules for the people and not for the corporations, because that's the only way they can get elected. So it all really comes down to our financials, our election system. But I agree with a lot of what you're
saying, because they backed by the corporations that pay for their donations to their campaigns.
Well, they're doing whatever they can to get votes and then get on TV. They have to sort of, talk out of both sides of their mouth. Legend, I appreciate it, man. Call back anytime.
All right.
All right, man. There goes Legend into the night. Let's bring in Pugman. I'll bring you in a second. Oh, let me get the super chat first. Fire says, what revolution versus tanks and drones? They can mop up like it's nothing. You start killing and they will put you down. Yeah, they might. But ultimately, you you have to stand up for what you believe in, and even if it's a futile act, I think there's a lot of people that look. The one thing, kind of like what Bill Maher said about 9/11 that got him fired off ABC and lost him his show when he said, yeah, the terrorists on 9/11 were awful, but you can't say that they were cowards. They believed in what they believed in. They were absolutely wrong, and they were hideous, and they were monsters, but they believed in their view. The people who stormed the Capitol are misinformed, ignorant, not educated, and were manipulated by a master con man and Donald Trump, but they believed in what they were doing, and they were willing, I guess, to die for it. One woman did, 4 people did. Yeah. So I think even if the forces that are opposing you look unstoppable, that doesn't mean you don't revolt. You may have to find a smarter way to do it. The British were more war evolved than the colonists were, but that doesn't mean...
Can I say something about this fucking protest shit?
Yeah.
Shame on the fucking media, dude. I saw an article about that woman who died.
Yeah.
She may have had questionable character. She stalked her ex or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
George Floyd wasn't a saint either, and he was risen up as a hero because of what he went through. And I agree that it was bad what happened to him. It shouldn't happen. But to put him on a pedestal with his, questionable character and then drag this woman through the mud just because she likes a different person than you do as the president, that's fucking despicable.
It is, but you're not painting the situation accurately. That's not what happened. No one is celebrating George Floyd's life as the man he was as a living person who contributed or didn't to society or what kind of father he was. I don't know anything about that. He could have been awful, but he is a symbol of what many people would tell you is a continual ongoing problem that dates back to slavery, where you have law enforcement in America that target and kill black people and certainly black men on a scale that clearly can only be described as racist. The woman yesterday or 2 days ago who got shot wasn't shot because of her beliefs. She wasn't shot because of her skin color. You can see the video. I've watched the video of her getting shot. She is shot because she literally tries to get into a door that is barricaded, and there are guys on the other side that have guns that are like, you cannot come in here or we will shoot you. And she basically goes through the door and they shoot her.
I understand. Both of the deaths were wrong. They shouldn't have happened.
No, her death should have happened. She
should have been shot and killed for that?
Here's the difference. If you put George Floyd in that situation, and George Floyd was handcuffed to a bench and he couldn't move, and the cops were on the other side of the door and they kept shouting at him, "Don't move, George Floyd, don't move, George Floyd." And they kept shouting, and George Floyd is like, "I'm just sitting here, I can't go anywhere." And they shoot him. This woman is on the other side of the door and they're saying, "Don't come in here, don't come in here, don't come in here." And she opens the door and comes in there and they shoot her. Of course she should have been shot. She was basically trespassing. She was expressing with all these other people that there was going to be violence, and she was.
I don't agree unless those cops thought they were in imminent danger.
Of course,
and that she was going to kill them.
Why in the world would she not
didn't deserve to die?
Why would they not be in imminent danger? You had literally thousands of people breaking windows, coming into the building. If you watch the video, before the video, you see the Congress people on the other side of the window terrified because the people on the other side are shouting at them like, "We're going to get you." They were threatening to get Mike Pence and hang Mike Pence. What part of imminent danger was not clear? Do you think they wanted to come in and play pinochle?
No, but I mean, I've heard you talk about this before. Cops are held to a higher standard than me or you.
They should be.
I can understand why they shot her. I just don't think it should have happened.
Well,
come on now.
It would be great if none of it had happened, but it would be, let me ask you a question. If you break into a bank tonight, and start walking around and you start heading to the vault and the cop he pulls the gun and says, "Don't take another step," and you take another step and he shoots you, is that a bad cop?
Absolutely. If I didn't have my gun pointed at a cop or some other kind of thing that was gonna put him in imminent danger, why would he shoot me?
Well, here's what I would.
Is my life less important than whatever's in that vault?
No, I think that's that's a good point, and maybe my analogy's bad because ultimately, what I imagine if I was on the other side of that door, and I saw the thousands of people who were climbing literally the walls to get in, like fucking a zombie movie. And they were breaking windows and smearing shit everywhere and saying, we're going to get these politicians and we're going to hang one of them. And they were walking around with zip ties, clearly intending to take hostages. I would go, if I'm on the other side of that fucking wall or other side of that fucking door, if I don't protect myself, because you saw what happened. They got shot and everybody backed up. I would have shot too. All right, let me bring in some people. This is Eternal. Eternal, what's up? Eternal, are you there?
Yeah, I'm just here. Yeah, fuck, I'm nervous. A little bit nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. What's up?
Yeah, I'm just really happy to be able to talk to you, Mr. Jaffe. I'm a big fan of your games.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I hope you'll be able to stay safe in these tough times.
Me too.
That's all what I wanted to say. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, buddy. That's all you want to talk about? Well, I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate the kind words. It's very, very, very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Jaffe.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Wait, did you make video games that are popular?
You go fuck yourself. This is Pugman Entertainment. What's up, Pug?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to you.
It is nice to talk to you as well.
For a while.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you like a couple basic questions, like.
The penis goes in the vagina. What?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you like, how was it making God of War and Twisted Metal? Because those are some of my favorite games of all time.
Thank you.
You played them all the time with my dad.
Oh, that's nice. On behalf of all of us who made them, thank you. Twisted Metal was fun to make. It was challenging, but it was fun for me. But that was probably because they made it in Utah and I was out there a lot. But I didn't live and breathe with the development team. And I know they crunched like a motherfucker for that game. God of War was a miserable experience. I loved the outcome. I loved a lot of the people who made the game. And I loved that I was given the very rare opportunity to make something that I had been wanting to make since I was a little kid playing video games. But the moment-to-moment, day-to-day was incredibly difficult, incredibly hard, incredibly punishing. And I'm glad I got to do it, but I would never want to do it again.
Yeah. I've always wondered how it was making the God of War game in Twisted Metal. Because Twisted Metal was really fun with like, getting like the different endings, sorry.
Yeah.
Playing as all the different characters to try to get to them. Like Sweet Tooth he was cool.
Yeah, the creative part was really fun, but making stuff it was super, super exhausting. So anything else you want to talk about?
I heard you were playing Ghost of Tsushima, so I wanted to get your take on it.
I loved it. I think I need to finish it. It has the same problem to me that a lot of open world games have, which is it asks the player to be the director of the pacing. And in that, it kind of breaks down for me because I tend to be a completionist and I don't want to leave the first island until I've collected everything and done everything. Same thing with Spider-Man, great fucking game. But both of them, like all the Ubisoft games, suffer from that problem, that sense of, hey, Jaffe, you get to solve it in any way you want, which I appreciate. A lot of people love that freedom, but for me, that's a level of freedom that I think ends up hurting the overall product because of the way that I play it. But I loved it, though. I think it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's excellent.
Yeah, you do need a kind of high IQ to understand it.
Bukaki, here's the thought. What are you eating for dinner tonight, Bukaki? Is it something that you have a high percentage chance of choking on and dying?
Maybe.
See what you can do about that. See, maybe check if your girlfriend's boyfriend's cum might make you choke, Bukaki. That would be great.
Oh, don't kink shame me, dude. I told you I was a cuckold in confidence.
I
Now
did.
everybody knows.
I'm not shaming you. I'm saying hopefully you'll choke on the semen. Look at Rob. Look at Rob the mod, the coward mod. He's laughing at you from the safety of behind his computer. He hasn't called in. Look, that's fighting words, baby. All right, Pugman. Thanks for calling.
I don't know if you guys are picking up on this or not, but I think this Dog guy, I don't think he likes me very much.
Dog's a little bit like Peapod in that they appear friendly sometimes, and some days you get them when their dander's up and they just come off like a dick. But he's a good.
He hates me according to the chat. I'm so fucking upset about this.
Well,
Dog, I think you're a cool
You got a
guy.
nice voice, so.
There, yeah, right. The voice is annoying. Come on. He's got the best voice in streaming. All right, Pugman, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you for calling in. Call back anytime.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Oh shit!
Dog, I know I'm all that, bitch.
I'm gonna bring in P Turtle, but first we got a special guest who has finally found his testicles. Look who's come in to fight Bukkake. It's Rob the Mod.
Hey, I was eating a burrito.
Oh, we don't need your life story, Robert.
I was eating a burrito, and you call me out like that. Now I gotta throw my burrito down.
I didn't call you out. All right, we're gonna bring in P Turtle. Let's see. All right, P Turtle. What is it now? Who's bothering you today? Oh, P Turtle.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on? You called me.
Please don't say any gamer words to get banned, because I would like for you to keep calling.
Yeah, what's up, P Turtle? Go.
Yeah, I was waiting in that chat for like an hour. I wanted to talk to that other guy who called in who was talking smack.
Oh, were you waiting a long time?
A long time, yeah. I wanted to debate him.
Oh, I'm so sorry because I didn't realize when I looked at your name, I didn't realize it had that member sticker next to it that means you actually pay for your free entertainment. Oh wait, you don't.
I have to become a member.
Oh wait, you don't. So I'm sorry.
That stuff works. I'm kind of new to this stuff.
You don't know.
I thought I'd just call in.
Are you watching? I don't actually charge people to call in. I'm just saying, don't be a dick.
Nope. He does now. You guys, there's a join button.
There is a join button, but you don't have to join the call. All right, what do you want to talk about? Go.
Like things, but I wanted to talk to that guy specifically because he called in all hot, calling me out. You know, and I could totally have taken him to school.
All right, boring. Give me something new. Go.
All right, I got something new.
Go.
Can we talk about how trash God of War was? And I got stuff to say about the Capitol. I got a bunch of shit to say. Why do you rush me?
Because this is not called this. Go get your own fucking stream, bitch. This is not called the P Turtle stream. If you got something you want to say,
yeah, this is good conversation. Nobody in the chat hates me.
That is like you probably have sex with your girlfriend and she's like, "Oh, it's awful, P Turtle."
I do have sex with my girlfriend.
Right. That's right. And she's probably like, "Jesus, man, could you read a book or get the Kama Sutra?" And you're like, "What? That was great sex. It was great sex. This is fantastic. You should want everything I want to do."
As long as I got off, that's all I care about.
Well,
my girlfriend lied to me that much.
You leave it to me to determine if it's good conversation. Say something interesting or you're off. Go.
Okay, fair enough. The Capitol building, and I don't mind that. What was her name? Ashley Babbitt or something?
I don't fucking know her name.
Jesus Christ! But you know George Floyd, you biased bastard.
Well, because
what?
Sorry, I'm reading a super chat. Hang on, stick with that. Heath Nation, thank you for the super chat. He says, Jaffe, what the heck's going on in the stream? Well, we got done with our video game conversation. Now we're just shooting the shit, pal. How you doing, Heath? Thank you for the super chat. I know George Floyd's name because the guy basically was the news of the summer, and you had people marching in the street saying, say his name, George Floyd. I know Breonna Taylor's name for the same reason. Now, if this woman who got shot a day and a half ago ends up inciting that level of passion and uproar and protest, then I'll know her name. What the fuck is happening with the microphone? What are you doing?
Wait, that's not me. That's not my side.
Who the fuck?
There's like 4 people in there. That's not me.
All right, go, P Turtle.
Well, what I'm saying is that the only reason why you know that's because of mainstream media, and I think that's to the point that Bukkake was kind of trying to make, was that, you shouldn't be using this girl's death to make political statements or commentaries or whatever.
Sure you should. Sure you should. Because her death was...
morally, I don't think you should.
Of course you should, because her whole death was brought about because of her political statement. She was literally trying to take over the government. If that's not a reason to kill someone and politicize it, I don't know what is. It's the very definition.
Did you watch George Floyd's full body cam video?
I didn't need to. I watched.
You didn't need to.
Let me wait. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Wait.
Let me finish.
You really thought the Capitol thing was a coup, like for real?
I absolutely. Wait a minute. Well, hang on. Let me get to each of those briefly. The George Floyd thing, I didn't need to, because it doesn't matter if George Floyd had shot 10 fucking school children before the cops tackled him. Okay? Mm-hmm. And he didn't, obviously. But what it sounds like you're saying is he was a bad guy, he was a criminal, whatever. Fine, maybe he was. But once he was handcuffed and subdued, the law is not the jury and the judge. The law is there to stop the crime and bring them in. And it's up to a jury to determine if that guy gets the death penalty. It is not it's not Judge Dredd. You don't get to
I understand, but I'm not saying that.
So what I'm saying is, no, I did not. There's nothing you can tell me about the full body cam.
There absolutely is.
What was in the full body cam?
Can you let me say it?
Go.
Well, before he even got taken, first of all, him going on the ground was his idea, and the cops obliged. That's first. Second
Doesn't matter.
Before they even pounced on him, he was in the car in the back saying he couldn't breathe, which leads to the fact that he might have died due to whatever drugs he might have been on. We don't know. That is big.
We do know because they did an autopsy on the body.
And they said it was because of the cops?
They said it was asphyxiation.
Yeah, but I'm saying that wasn't due to the drug, it was due to the cops. I heard that they're going to court to argue that, aren't they?
Okay, well, let's put it this way.
What the heck?
What happened was they did an autopsy where he died, where those cops worked at, and they were like, oh yeah, it wasn't because of that. And then the family was like, well, this is bullshit. So they got another one done somewhere else, an impartial place, I imagine. Okay. And they said, yeah, it was due to asphyxiation.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but nevertheless.
Right. So the other thing you were asking about these people actually trying to revolt. Here's all I can tell you. Okay, you literally have now. I can't speak to that woman. I watched that woman's video where she was absolutely, if you were to take her at face value, at her word, she was angry and she was coming to Washington to get some payback. Now, that could have just been anger. That's not a reason to kill somebody. I agree with you on that. But between the video and text that you've seen on Parler and that you've seen in the media today and yesterday, where people are basically saying the 6th and Donald Trump threw us under the bus. This was supposed to be the day that we took everything back, that we revolted, that they were claiming that they were going to hang Mike Pence. There were absolutely people in that crowd that thought this was the first shots of the revolution. Absolutely, that's true. I can't speak to what that individual woman thought, but
can I make my point, though, that I wanted to make about this?
Yeah, go.
Is that I don't know why I just seen in the chat, too, that people are saying that how could you attack the Capitol building or whatever. I respect these people going straight after the people who they hold accountable for whatever's going on in this country. But you look at the media and you look at everybody when Black Lives Matter and Antifa are destroying neighborhoods and occupying police stations. You have Chris Cuomo going, since when does a protest have to be peaceful? It's a clear bias. I don't have a problem with these. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I don't like Trump. So go ahead, go after those people. But don't ruin your own neighborhoods. And why is somehow the world more upset at these people who went directly to their problem?
Because,
people who are destroying the whole neighborhood.
Okay,
destroying everything around them.
I will tell you why. Because the vast majority of people are good and decent. And the vast majority of people look at what happened to George Floyd and they look at what happened to Breonna Taylor, and they look at what has been happening since well before Rodney King, but that's when it came on the scene for white people and non-black people to go, holy shit, there's a real fucking problem out here. And a lot of us can go, it's not gotten a lot better in regards to cops and black folks and cops being a racist institution. And we understand where the anger is coming from. When a lot of us look at the people who stormed the Capitol, we go, I would say the majority of Americans go, look, if Joe Biden and the Democrats stole the election, we don't want any part of it. I'm as progressive as you can get for the most part, and I would not want Biden to have the presidency if it was stolen. But we've had the Supreme Court, we've had judges on the Supreme Court and all over the country, different states, that Trump and his administration have appointed who have thrown this out of court and said you have no evidence. We have had Rudy Giuliani. We've had all of these support people who have had cameras put in their faces since November 3rd going, we're going to offer you the evidence, and they haven't shown the evidence. Most Americans go, okay, if the election was stolen, you even have the attorney general that Trump appointed, who's an asshole, who basically says, we don't have any evidence of what Trump is saying. And so most Americans look at what happened at the Capitol and they don't go, this anger they feel is justified because they've been told the election was stolen. They look at what happened at the Capitol and go, these are brainwashed members of a cult, and Donald Trump doesn't want to lose, and he's willing to do anything, including attacking America, in order to get his way. And so most Americans...
Sure, but at the end of the day, he's the president of the United States. He's telling people that the election was rigged.
Yeah,
robbed.
That's right. He's been saying that before the election, but yes.
No, actually, the left have been saying that they were robbed before the election.
No. Trump has been saying...
They went 4 years saying Russia has hacked them, and they wouldn't accept that he actually won fair and square.
Well, okay, but them not accepting it is not them basically going... Look, here's what they did. The Democrats did it the right way. Whether you agree with the Democrats or not, the Democrats said, we think there's something fishy going on here. We're going to go and use the law. And the law went through the process, and the law came out and said, there's a lot of shady stuff in this administration. Trump has had more people in his administration arrested and put in jail than any other administration. But yes, according to the Mueller report, Mueller didn't feel comfortable accusing the president of anything. But regardless, the law was the law. The Democrats got what they needed to get done. Nothing happened to Trump. The Democrats were done. They have a right, just like Trump has a right, to go to every extreme legally to say this was a fraudulent election. But once those options were exhausted twice by the Supreme Court, he was out of options. You don't then get...
But what I'm saying is that they still accused him of cheating. And Donald Trump, without the proof, is still saying they're cheating. A bunch of his followers...
Okay, but that's very different.
Why?
Because when the Democrats accused Trump of using Russia to help him get elected, they went through the legal process, and the legal process, as corrupt as it can be, said, sorry, Democrats, but as much as you want to impeach him, the law says the Senate has to vote to actually kick him out of office.
Wait
a minute. No, wait. It doesn't matter. It's different because I'm trying to tell you. Because the Democrats stopped at the water's edge and they basically said, oh, well, the law's the law. I guess we're done. Mm-hmm. Not the Republicans, but these particular brand of Republicans that stormed the Capitol said the law is the law. And the law said there is no fraudulent thing here. We've done the research. We've listened to your claims. You don't have a case. They didn't say this once in some podunk town in Alabama. They said this all over the country, all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court twice said, there's nothing here. The Attorney General of the United States said there's nothing here. The FBI said there's nothing here. So at that point, you would expect these people to go, okay, it sucks.
No. But you're comparing two things I'm not comparing. I'm comparing what Trump is saying to what what Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were saying.
Trump
talking about where he was still saying that they robbed him.
Trump has a right to say till the day.
That's my point.
Trump has a right till the day he dies to say he was robbed. The people who support Trump have a right till the day they die to think he was robbed. What they don't have a right to do is break the law because they're angry he was robbed.
I'm not saying they do. What I'm saying is, he's saying that And these people are listening to the President of the United States. Do I necessarily think he was... I don't like what he did. I thought he threw them under the bus when he was done. Right? When it was all said and done, he said he's going to prosecute these... I don't like it. I thought that was terrible. But at the end of the day, I can understand these people listening to the President of the United States just like everybody else listens to whoever on the left that they listen to.
Most people... Well, go ahead.
And my thing is that they went after what they deemed the problem. Whereas when you have the Black Lives Matter situation, they're destroying businesses in their neighborhood. They're destroying their, other black people's stuff. One black guy got killed, David Dorn. The cop got shot in the head when they were trying to loot. All this stuff that the media doesn't cover.
That was totally covered. You think I watch all the media?
No, well, we're talking about how they covered. I'm talking about that. Look at what's happening now. They're not covering what happened at the Capitol the same way that they covered Black Lives Matter.
Because the fact of the matter is, most people in media are intelligent. They're educated, and most intelligent people can discern the difference between the Black Lives Matter movement, which you can disagree with tactics that they employ, sure, but most people would not disagree with what they're fighting for. Intelligent people. And most intelligent people can look at these people who stormed the Capitol and say they're a bunch of fucking morons, dude.
You're a moron if you loot and rob stores?
You loot and rob stores because you are dealing with a lifetime and generations of systemic racism and seeing people killed because of it. And while you certainly don't want to make it legal for them to do it and they should be arrested for doing it, you can understand and sympathize with the anger. You don't loot and attack the Capitol.
You can understand and sympathize with these people.
No, not if you're
80% of the media.
Not if
all they do is talk down to these people.
Not because these people are morons. They're
black people aren't that for looting and robbing.
Listen, I'm done with this conversation because you're not listening to me.
You're taking it out. You're always taking up on me when I school you.
If you think you're schooling me, then you're a moron too. Okay?
How dare you?
I care. Listen to me. Listen to me. Mm-hmm. The people who stormed the Capitol, if somebody came and said 9/11 was an inside job and I have proof of the inside job, and Americans saw the proof and got pissed and stormed the Capitol, I would support that 100%. If people saw proof that the election was rigged and they stormed the Capitol to stop their, American right to elect a government from being squandered or taken away from them, I would support that. These people have no proof, no evidence. They never have. Trump hasn't offered it. Giuliani hasn't offered it. The courts have thrown it out. So the only conclusion
I do think they do have proof. I just think the courts didn't want to take it. But
you don't have any. I'm done. There he goes into the night. Sorry, Pete Turtle. Call back later.
That's all she wrote.
You don't have any proof. You don't have any proof. If you do, provide it. But what you don't get to do is say, I have proof, they have proof, but the courts just didn't show it to us. Horse shit. Horse shit.
I think the court said, hey, where's the proof? By the way, you're under oath. And they're like, all right, well, we don't have any.
That's exactly what happened. This fallacy that the courts the courts basically had proof, but we're not going to show it. We're not going to use it. All these courts, including a conservative stacked court, specifically stacked by Donald Trump, there are hundreds of sworn affidavits. So Scott, that's what Scott says. So Scott, let me ask you a question. All of the courts in America, the 60 courts this went through, Scott, I'm serious. The 60 courts this went through, all of them just said, you know what, especially courts that were presided over by judges that were Trump appointees and Republicans. All of them just said, you know what? We have sworn affidavits, but we're going to ignore them. The Supreme Court just chose to ignore all these. That's a likely scenario. It's also a likely scenario that the fucking Democrats stole the election, but chose just for kicks and shits and giggles to make sure they didn't steal the Senate. Let's make sure the Senate still has a chance of being taken over by Republicans, and let's win Georgia by just the hairest of possibilities of a miracle. But let's totally rig the presidency and then make sure that they don't have any control in the Senate, so Biden can't get anything done. That's why I'm saying these people are fucking morons. Because it's the same reason I think 9/11 insider people are kind of moronic. Because if you say 9/11 was allowed to happen because we knew it was going to happen and we let it to go to war, I could go, I don't have proof of that, but I can understand the logic. If you say 9/11 was an inside job and we blew up the buildings ourselves so we could go to war with Iraq, I think you're a fucking moron. Because
9/11 was rigged.
It may very well have been rigged, but it wasn't rigged like that because we did. If we were going to rig it that way, we would have said the people in the planes were Iraqis, but we didn't. They were from Saudi Arabia. Anyway,
here's what I don't understand about that theory. If the government has the control to put something together like that, they couldn't just make up some fake news and put it everywhere about something happening in Iraq involving Americans.
But I mean, not
that
just,
would have been a lot easier,
right? Or not just that, they couldn't have said, instead of saying we found the DNA of the terrorist and they were all from Saudi Arabia, they could have said, oh, these were the elite guards of Saddam Hussein. I mean, none of that. None of that.
Yeah.
Stupid. Here's Nash.
That's
Nash,
what I'm saying.
What's up? What's up, Nash?
Hey, man. All right. Back because I actually had to write stuff down sorry.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, it's super
There you
low.
go. Better?
Oh, it is better, baby.
Yes.
It's buttery. It's buttery smooth.
All right, I always forget to change my audio. Sorry, and it's gonna happen every time I call. I'm sorry, but it's gonna happen. All right, I just wanted to. I remembered this stuff and I wrote them down, and it's just small things.
Okay, go. Just go. Just go. Just go. Just go. Go.
All right. They will have some hot takes because I don't know how long this will go. But
It's got to go. It's got to go quick. We got to wrap it up. We got game night soon. Go.
All right. The thing about trans people and sports, all right? If you want to fix it, if you want to make sure like everyone's represented well, and it's okay for having trans people to be in sports, and it's okay, and it doesn't seem like it's an operation where it's like, hey, this dude is obviously still like a dude, but they're wearing a wig or blah blah, and like they transition too early, and it's all that garbage.
It sounds like you are doing an auction.
Sorry. All right. Let me slow it down then.
Yes.
Hey, you want me to be fast or do you want me to be slow?
I want you to be fast enough that the audience doesn't tune out, but I want you to be not so fast that it sounds like you're trying to auction off the Mona Lisa. Go.
All right. So what I'm trying to get at is trans people in sports. If you don't want a situation in which you are called out, you call out a trans woman for like being in a woman's sport because you believe that she transitioned too early and that she still has, I don't know, like man genes in their testosterone.
Yep. Okay.
The whole thing, all you need to do is just catch it earlier. Just catch it early and try and make sure they transition earlier. And there you go. Because by the time they become full-fledged adults and have these careers, they're basic. It's biologically, it's incredibly similar, just completely the same as a woman's biological body. Only two things that will still stay the same is that in a biological masculine body is the lungs will carry more air. So like swimming events and running events, those will kind of have a thing. But honestly, just catch it early. Make sure like if someone does believe that they are trans, that while they're in early teens or whatever, just make sure they go to their psychiatrist, make sure they do the proper like procedures, give them puberty blockers. That way, if they are for sure know that they are trans, they'll take the proper medication like estrogen or whatever.
Well, yeah, I don't give a fuck about sports in this. I care about people's mental health. So what I'm saying is, yeah, that may solve the sports problem, but I think there's a bigger problem to solve first. Let's get people who are trans people, let's get them integrated into society. Let's get them stop being murdered in crazy numbers. Let's get them stop feeling bad about themselves because they aren't like you and I, and then we'll solve the sports problem. All right, Nash, last point that we got to go.
I think we got a ways to go before we start the transports league.
That's the only reason, because that's like one thing I want to talk about, the transports. Also, I want to say all sports are bad. They're all meant to be unfair. It doesn't matter. Sports are meant to be unfair. You cannot train your body to be a perfect, evenly matched up against everyone else. A lot of it has to do with your DNA and how well and how good you're born in. You just can't. You can't be a 5'3" person and be a basketball player. All sports are bad. I'm sorry. Gotta say that.
I think
like sports.
Some short football players.
I think you're absolutely, you're wrong. You're simply wrong. You're simply wrong. But I appreciate the point of view.
100%.
But because here's why you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong about sports. And I grew up hating sports. Okay.
I'm in Louisiana, so I have to.
But let me just fucking tell you, the fun part about sports or any kind of competition is it's kind of like, when you play a fighting game. It's you bring to the table what you bring to the table, and you may not have the height or you may not have the build to do certain things, but you work with what you've got, and you work with your team to bring out the good parts and suppress the bad parts of every individual team member, and that's part of the fun of it. If everybody was absolutely 100% balanced and equal, and they didn't have to sort of, excel in their, whether it's their philosophy of the game or their mental part of the game, I think that'd be real unfun. All right, Nash, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
I'm gonna bring back the sports thing next time, but
oh shit, Nash. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I did not. I really am. I apologize. All right, last call of the night. This is Legends. What's up, bud?
I really apologize. Last call of the night. This is Legends.
Legends, go. Turn off your TV.
So, I was thinking about the last thing about the girl getting shot. Well, it's a certain process that you go about. Like, you don't storm a government building and because they don't know what your intentions is. They keeping congressmen safe and all of that. You just threaten their life just by rushing in there.
Yep.
All acting all crazy. And the other thing is, like, how you not talking about George Floyd? Like, the man was still on his neck, no matter what race he is, what alien, animal, anything. How people cry more about an animal than a human being?
I agree. I agree. And look, I don't even care if the drugs were ultimately what killed him. The cop had his knee on the guy's neck for 6 minutes, and he was saying he couldn't breathe. Now, whether he couldn't breathe because of the drugs or the cop on his neck, the cop should have been like, okay, well, you're not a threat anymore. Look, help the guy out. And then sure, you got to take him to jail.
Human decency.
And then the other thing, look, if somebody storms a Target and there's a cop in there with a gun and they're trespassing and they have the legal right to shoot, if somebody got shot in the Black Lives Matter movement going into the Target, I wouldn't have been like, I'd be like, well, you were fucking breaking into a private business. Of course you got shot.
There's very clearly a problem. I mean, there's very clearly a problem when you get.
In the White House.
Sorry, I'll let you go.
Oh no! I'm just saying that about the White House situation comparison.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, if you get the cops called because of a bad check and it winds up in somebody dying and they were not resisting in like a deadly way, there's a problem.
That's
there.
a totally.
Yeah, that definitely is a problem. Everything should be de-escalated. And I'm like, why are people de-escalating a situation that cops supposed to de-escalate? It's not making no sense.
Well, it makes total it makes
to the right places.
It makes total sense because a lot of cops are racist, and the cops that aren't racist are in a system of being policed that they can't fix the system. If you try to fight back against the system, you either get hazed or kicked out or ignored. The entire institution of policing was originally created to catch runaway slaves. It is fundamentally a racist system. And do I think we need police? Do I think we need people to protect us? Absolutely. And do I think certain things like writing a bad check needs to send somebody out to help? Yeah, but it doesn't need to be somebody with a fucking shotgun. That's like you're saying. Right. There needs to be de-escalation. There needs to be better police training. There needs to be social workers that go out to handle domestic disputes, not guys with guns and handcuffs and mace. We have to totally reform. I think the Democrats have fucked up by calling it abolish the cops and defund the cops. But I think we absolutely need to reform policing in America. We absolutely have to, or it's going to keep happening. So, all right, you guys.
The whole thing is, one more thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is this association with people living together. Like
what?
You can't like a lot of people that live in the suburbs like to judge the people that lives in the hood, and a lot of people in the hood like to judge the people that lives in the suburbs.
Yeah.
You don't understand. If you're not in the suburbs living in the hood, you don't understand. If you're not in the hood living in the suburbs, you don't understand.
Well, there is also a growing demand that part of cop reform would be that the people who police the neighborhoods have to live in the neighborhoods or have to be close by, because you're right. There is a continual complaint that a lot of these people that are policing like the inner city don't come from there. They don't live there. So they don't actually understand the nuance of what a lot of people who are maybe breaking the law or perceived as breaking the law are dealing with. So I totally agree with that. I think we need more of that. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right, Legends. 9 Live says, how do we know if it's racism and not bad policing? Well, if it's racism, it's by nature of it being racism, it's bad policing. But sure, it can also be bad policing.
It could be both.
Yeah, it's bad training. It's bad policing regardless. Classic Krusty says, I don't think it's a fundamentally racist system. It is a fundamentally racist system because it was literally founded in order to catch runaway slaves. And just as many unarmed whites are killed a year as blacks. Yeah, that's because there's a lot more white people in the country. There's like the back.
And listen, like just because it's a systemic racist system doesn't take away anything that you've done in your life. Like no one's saying you only got where you are because of your skin color. It just maybe not. If you were black, it would have been a little bit harder. Like
oh yeah,
and I feel like I think people feel attacked when people call it systemic racism because they think like, oh no, I worked hard to get where I'm at. It's not because I'm white. It's like, well, no, we're not saying that.
Well, no, I am. Well, hang on, no. It's true. Do I think I have been given advantages because I am male, because I am white, because I am straight? Absolutely, 100%. Do I think it's harder?
But not just because of that.
Of course not. Of course not. But no one is saying that. No one is saying that. I don't know. The guy who runs a bank is only in his position because he's I don't know, a guy who runs a bank, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a white straight dude. But certainly that's part of what has allowed him the opportunity, not just at the bank, but how he was raised, how he was treated by society. If you come home from school and you've got a parent there, and I think there's a higher percentage of parents with one working and one at home amongst white people than black people, and not because of anything racial, but because of the system. Of course, that kid is going to have a higher percentage chance of success when they become an adult. It's marbled into the whole fucking thing, and yeah, people feel attacked, and it's like, why don't you feel compassionate? A lot of we've gotten a lot of benefit from the racism of this country and the misogyny of this country. And, unclench a little bit. It's like, it's okay for us to admit that and be sorry about that and want to change that. It doesn't mean you're evil.
It's also okay to celebrate your accomplishments, even if you're like a white dude. Like,
of course.
That's all I'm saying. Like, it's not saying like you're not allowed to celebrate or anything like that. You got where you're at because you know what you went through.
Right.
You
know what sucks though? I got all these people in the chat. Here's what's interesting. I got a guy named, I think it's 9 Lives. We got a guy named Scott. None of these guys ever call in. Most people who call in, except P Turtle, we all kind of agree. It's like, I don't mind if you want to call in and you're kind of a right-wing dude, but you never call in. So, I don't get it. All right, here's the deal.
I wouldn't call myself a right-wing dude, but definitely not fully radical left either.
No, I understand.
Those are the kind of dudes that are out there on Twitter that are super vocal on Twitter.
Somebody call?
What?
Oh, I thought you said something.
No, I said, well, it's late. We've been doing this. I got to order the kids' food, or I'll be bean dad. So let's say this. We're going to start game night at 8:04. Well, okay, let me ask you guys. This stream went a lot longer than planned. I hope people who tuned in had a good time.
3 hours.
I know. So here's the question, Rob. You tell me. Tomorrow night is supposed to be game night. I mean, movie night. Mm-hmm. Does it make better sense to move game night to tomorrow and start it on time at 5 o'clock since there's no stream, and then do the movie Sunday or Monday, or does it make sense to keep it tonight and just start it at like 8:45 Pacific time?
Look, you're better off doing it tomorrow because I've talked with a good bunch of people in the Discord that their game hasn't even downloaded yet.
You were just asking Rob, right?
I'm gonna ask you next. Okay, so Rob, you say push it. What do you say, Bukaki?
I say push it. Yeah.
I think a lot of your viewers are like on the East Coast or like not in the country, so I think a lot more people would probably be able to join if you pushed it.
Okay. Anybody in the chat disagree? And if we do it tomorrow, let's
push it to the limit.
Let's do it tomorrow then in a decent hour. So let's start it at, we won't call it game night. Just maybe 2 in the afternoon work for people?
I'm good with either.
I don't know, that's like 10 o'clock in the UK.
Well, yeah, but at least people in the UK can join. Okay, so people in the UK can join.
Shit.
And then people on the East Coast, it's only 5 o'clock for you guys. Okay.
I have work tomorrow.
Oh shit! When are you home?
Well, probably not until late, so maybe 8 o'clock. I'm going at like 4 a.m. So
8 o'clock for you is what? Is 5 o'clock for me?
Yeah.
Okay, and so are you going to be too tired to play anyway?
Me? No.
Okay.
Never be too tired to play video games.
All right, well, then we will do 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Cool.
5 o'clock tomorrow is game night.
I couldn't hear Rob. That's why. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, you think I was just talking to myself?
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't communicate with Bukaki, so I was just messaging him on Discord. I was like, what's going on?
Oh, okay. So game night has been moved to 5 o'clock only because it's getting so late. This stream went later. I apologize. I may stream tonight, though. In fact, you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. I will play Warzone tonight, and I will stream it, and I will bring people in. It won't be game night because it's not going to be organized. It's not going to be members only. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be like trying to make sure everybody gets in and is fairly treated. I'm just going to play the game and I'll stream it and I'll bring you guys in. So I will
Did you download Dante's Inferno any?
I downloaded, let me show you what I got. So so in 1 hour and 20 minutes, I will absolutely bring on Warzone and we will play it tonight. If you can play, great. But tomorrow is going to be proper game night at 5 o'clock Pacific, and we'll move movie night. Magic Circle game night is never members only, but it's members only or members first come seating. So if it's between you, who's not a member, and a member, and I only have one slot, it goes to the member. But it's everybody usually gets to play. Okay, so let me show Rob what I got on my Xbox, and then we're going to take a break. And obviously,
I gotta say, like a PC compared to the Xbox, you get so many good games from buying the Xbox.
That's why I did it, because I love Game Pass on PC, and I was just kind of getting tired of, all these other games not being available. Hang on, I think this is working. Is this delayed?
You get OG Xbox on there too.
Hot shit racing.
Oh, it's good. Okay, hang on, let me bring this up. Look up what happened to David Slaver. Why don't you just tell me? I'm busy. What happened to David Slaver? You tell me, pal. Don't make me do all the work.
Good guy. I went to college with the guy.
Slaver Jaffe.
He used to buy pizza on the weekends.
There you go. Yeah, David Slaver? I don't know.
Make up a story about him.
So yeah, I'm gonna play Gears 5, whatever that 4-hour campaign is. I got that. I started playing Need for Speed Heat because my buddy worked on it. I like it, but it's a little too cutscene heavy for me. I got Double Dragon. Inferno, I'm going to do a stream on because everybody's been asking me forever to play that game.
Let's say Need for Speed is too cutscene heavy?
Need for Speed Heat. It's very cutscene-y.
What the fuck?
I know. I know.
Ooh, I love Speed Heat, man. I don't even multiplayer.
I got Ace Combat.
Stream that.
I'm gonna stream Ace Combat again because I got Doom Eternal. I got Shadows of the Damned, which I'm so happy about because I never finished it and I can't get it anywhere else. But I mean, I got this is just what I downloaded at first, and I'm just loving the quick resume.
Shadow of the Damned is great.
Yeah, I loved it. It's so weird.
It's a great game. Now, how much memory do you have left?
How much memory?
I had to taken up a lot of it.
Let me see real quick.
What, they give you a terabyte? That doesn't work in 2021. That's nothing.
Okashi, you played Shatters the Dam? Yeah, I enjoyed it when I played it. You know what they left out here? Are you watching this cutscene? Look what they left out here. They left out the panty shot. Seriously,
you would call that out.
No, look, I was a kid when the game was in the arcade, and all of us, we were like 11. We were like, oh my god, you can see her panties. That was like the thing, and they took out the panty shot. Bastards.
What a shame.
But this is fun too, though. I like this game. I love this genre so much. It's great.
If you love the panty shot, I'm
anyway, that's right.
As a
okay.
kid in 2020.
But that's the Xbox. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm glad I got one. I appreciate the help getting one. Hang on.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good people.
Totally worth it.
All right. So in 1 hour from now, hour and 15 minutes, we will start. It's not even game night. Game night's tomorrow at 5, but I will be on tonight streaming some Warzone. I'll tweet about it. I'll let people know. So jump in, play with me, teach me it because I've never played it online. And I'll see you guys for a proper game night.
Jaffe,
yeah.
Can you tell Bacon if you've been in an orgy or what, dude?
Okay, I have been. Well, what is it? How do you define an orgy? Like I've been here's what I can tell you. Truth be told, I have been in a 3-way, and it's not all it's cracked up to be, because it's very hard.
Oh, were you the third wheel?
No. It was 2 women, obviously, and it's very hard to know. Like your mind gets in the way of what your mind really shouldn't be there. You should be able to let go and have a good time. And when you've got 2 people, you're like, you start, maybe if you do it a lot, I've only done it once, you get used to it. But if you do it the first time, you're just like, wait, who am I supposed to be paying attention to right now? And no one's doing anything with her right now. What do I do? I was too neurotic about it. And it really was like, it was okay. But it wasn't what Penthouse Forums made it to be. That's all I'll say.
I guess what you're saying is you should do drugs beforehand.
You need to be really relaxed or experienced, because if you don't, at least for me, I was up in my head. So, There you go. Good night, everybody.
Scott's got a good point right there.
Scott says what? You have to have 2 hands? I do have 2 hands, but I have one brain that controls them both.
Oh, man.
So, okay.
I'll see you tonight.
Yeah, I'll see you guys tonight. Rob, Bukaki, RPG, thank you guys for modding. New members, welcome. Super Chats, welcome. Thank you guys for all the phone calls. Much appreciated. I will see you guys tonight or tomorrow or down the road. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.